kids. Um, been living out here in this cabin. I bought this place in November of 2022, and me and my son live here. And that's about it. Just been remodeling on it. I was supposed to be retired, but I still work. I do painting and stuff and a little bit of repairs on houses and things. I've been pretty busy here lately. But I got one more job to do. This time I'm retiring because I bought a camper and I plan on spending my time camping.
There you go. There you
Nothing
go.
wrong with that.
Nature.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, we were all three of us were talking backstage, and I'm just going, "Oh, we need to do that, and we need to post this picture." Had all the pictures posted this morning, and I came back, went to set the clock, and the time for the live stream gone. So we're talking about moving to some other platform that works. So, but yeah, Brian, you said you're in Indiana, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I don't want to give my general location online.
No. Yeah, don't.
No.
Because people will find you. I've had
Oh,
people
yeah.
threaten to come out here. So, oh man, I can shoot one of them little ones. We'll be rich and famous as they do. No, you won't.
You see the
No.
last guy that did that?
He'll never make it out of the woods.
Yeah, I would say. Yeah, I told him. I said, man, if you use to shoot one, and even if you use to grab a hold of it and it be dead, you won't make it out alive. You'll never be found. You'll be 411, buddy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I try to keep. I even took my location offline and everything. Nobody. I mean,
Yeah. No, it's not worth it. It really isn't.
No.
So,
no, I have camp outs, and I invite researchers out. I have 4-day camp outs, and they all have their experiences. So I haven't had any this year yet. I usually do one in the spring and one in the fall, but I'll probably wait and just do one in the fall this year because I had a lot going on. I'm pretty busy.
yeah. So you fix up houses too, myself as well, handyman and carpentry and construction and cabinets and probably all the same stuff that you do, right? So
yeah,
hey,
you got to keep busy.
before we get into it, tell us about your BAO, Bigfoot. Your
well, I was sharing pictures just on my regular Bigfoot, page, or not Bigfoot page, my regular Facebook page, and I don't want to mix my. I've had a lot of friends that follow me. I had a lot of followers, and just on me personally, nothing to do with the Bigfoot. And they quit following me because I post so much stuff. And I told my sons, well, I'm just going to create a group, and just do all my stuff that I see and encounter out here and put it all on there. And so that's what I've been doing. It's called BAO Bigfoot. That's my initials, BAO and Bigfoot. And it's open to the public. I just ask anybody who wants to get on there and follow it. Just be kind and courteous, because there's other people that post stuff on there too. That's the whole reason why I went public with all this. When this all first started, 2 years ago, me and my son, we were like, we can't tell nobody about this. They're going to think we're nuts. And the more I thought about it and realized how much I was going through by not being able to tell anybody, I said, you know what, I'm going to come clean with it. I'm going to tell. If my friends don't stick with me and they think I'm crazy, then they're not really my friend.
No.
So I started telling people, and it's benefited, not financially, but it's benefited by helping other people. I've been on other podcasts, Bigfoot Society. I was ranked one of the top ones, in 2025. And then we did another one this year. And I've had so many people email me, want to talk to me because so much stuff that's happened with me and my son has happened to them. And they didn't tell anybody but maybe one or two people. Yeah. And I talked to this one woman, she's from Michigan. And we talked for hours, like 5 hours the very first time. And so just so she could tell me everything that she's experienced and got off her chest. And she said, Brian, it felt so good just to talk to somebody that didn't think I was crazy. So to me, it was worth it for people to think I'm insane and crazy and get laughed at and ridiculed. To me, it's worth it to help those few that are suffering and going through it, because, man, I did too. Like I said, when this all started, I was ready just to grab what I could carry out the door and leave and just say, I don't need this cabin. They can have it, And then, thankfully, somebody directed me to the IBRO, and Leroy and Debbie came out and walked the property and sat down. They sat here all night long, and talked to us. They said if they were going to get you, they'd already got you, because they've been here the whole time. I've been here 2 years. And, and now they just took 2 years to finally show themselves to me, I think they were just trying to see what me and Peyton would do, how we are.
Yeah.
And so
they're people watchers. They the the adults, what they'll do is they'll tell, hey, look over here, this is what people do, behind a log or something like that, and say, hey, keep an eye on this is what people do when they're in here, certain stuff like that. And Paul had said that to me, and yeah, I mean, it's incredible. It really incredible.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
tell us.
they stayed back. I mean, well, when we first knew that they were here and that first one showed itself to us, that whole week was horrendous. I mean, they tormented me, Peyton, and our little Yorkie dog that I had. I just bought that dog. I only had him a week. I had $1,000 in him, and I had to give him away because they were tormenting him so bad. Um, and we like they would come up and smack the back of the cabin in the middle of the night, smack it so hard you thought a tree fell on it. Me and Peyton jump up. We'd run outside on the side deck back there and turn all the lights on. And I got to tell you a story about this. When we bought this property, an old couple lived here. Her boyfriend passed away, and it was just her. She was almost 80 years old.
Wow.
And I don't know exactly how
And a
long she lived
boyfriend
here.
at 80-year-old, and then has a boyfriend.
Well, he died years before, but when
Oh, I see.
they lived here together. I don't know for how many years, but they never were married. They just were together. And he passed away in a car wreck, and then she lived here for so many years, but then she ended up dying. And I found out later she died in this house. They found her 3 days later. I didn't know that when I bought it. I don't think it would have changed anything then anyway. But when she was living here, she had floodlights, these big halogen lights all the way around. And my house, my cabin, sets up off the ground about 10 foot on one side and 4 foot on the other. It's not on no foundation; it's on pillars. But she's got lights underneath, lights on every corner, all the way around. And when you turn all these light switches on, boof, this place is lit up about 50 to 60 feet out. And my neighbor across the street said, yeah, every morning I'd come home or go to work, I'd have to squint my eyes because it's so bright over there. It looked like Fort Knox lit up. He said every morning she had all those lights on. And I was like, man, that's wild. I wonder why. He said, well, you got to think she's old, and probably worried about people trying to break in and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. Little did I know, she
Little
probably
did you
knew what
know.
was out here. She was probably getting harassed too, and probably
I'm
knew.
sure.
And the lights will definitely keep them away.
Yeah. Equal opportunity destroyer.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Well, that
Yeah.
is so good. We were just saying, I mean, all the stories and everything that you've, encounters and sightings and all this stuff. Give us a couple of your best sightings or encounters that you've had that are good. I mean, not that they're tormenting you.
Well, it's always the first one is the big one. When the one stepped up and not walked behind a tree, and he was a lot bigger than what I thought he was. That's the one that scared us to death because we didn't know that's when we found out they were real.
Yeah.
And then I've had so many encounters, it's hard to pick one. Well, like I said, we were talking how the one come up while I was playing music out there by my little campfire. The one to come up 15 feet from me from behind a tree and just leaned up against the tree and just sitting there listening to me play music. A young juvenile female. I'd say she was about 12 or 13. And then another time here this year, that one come up and about 30 feet away, her and two little boys come up and she sat down Indian style or crossed her legs, just sitting there listening to my music. I was just playing music off my phone and she was just sitting there listening. I see them all the time. So it's like, I don't want to say I don't get excited anymore. Used to when I would see them like the first year, I was like, oh my God, there's one, get really excited. And, the first 6 months I was taking hundreds of pictures a day, But now it's like if I see one, I usually just say, hey, how's it going? And I wave at them and just keep doing what I'm doing. Most of the time I don't take pictures anymore. I just say hey or hello and say, hey, I got you some apples up here or something, But here recently, it's just a few days ago, there was one. There's this one that comes. It's always around here. I call him the old man. He's real old, real old. He, dark brown hair, almost black hair, but it's got some gray in it. And it looked like he had a bad back because he'd always walk with his leaning way forward. And I got a picture of him walking, but there's say like a little 14-year-old juvenile had his arm around his waist, and the old man had his left arm up over the juvenile's shoulder, and he was helping him walk. And this was in my backyard, walking across my backyard. And I took a picture of it, and I was like, and that was in 2024. And then here recently, I seen the old man, and I feel real bad. He was laying on the ground. He has distinctive facial features. I know it's him. He's got a real long chin, no hair on his head, but you can see the crest on the top of his head looks like a big bone. You can see that up there, almost like a gorilla.
Yeah.
And it's not real prominent. It's only about, it sticks up about that part of his head, goes all the way down his head like that. Yeah. And he was laying on his side. His eyes were closed. His skin was all white. And he was just laying there. But there was like a dozen other squatches around him looking at him. And he was outside of the nest, laying on the ground. And there was a bunch of them in the nest just kind of looking at him. And one of the little Yodas was there looking at him too. And I have a feeling that he either died or was dying, the old man. Yeah. And because I've never seen his face that white before.
Oh, wow.
And so I have a feeling that he passed away, and that's why all the other ones, I've never, I see them together all the time. I see 5 or 6 here. Sometimes there'll be 15 of them over here. They're just all sitting around hanging out. But for them to all be gathered and looking down, over this big one, just kind of looking at him and watching him, and one to be laying up by his head, just laying there beside him, I thought, well, there's something wrong with him. I actually I put that on my Bayo Bigfoot group as well, and it shows his whole side view of his face. You can see his outline of his chin and nose and everything, and you'll see other ones around him looking at him.
The details are amazing, and your pictures too. I mean, when you first sent them to me, I was like, this guy's got to be faking it or something. I mean, it's that good. It is. You are that good.
Well, these are all being taken with the iPhone 17, and most of them are taken with the iPhone 15 Pro Max. But I upgraded to an iPhone 17 and my Android Galaxy S23. Now I spent a lot of money on a Nikon P950, the 2,000 millimeter zoom. But whenever I take that big camera out, they hide. I don't see them. They know what that camera is, I guess. They said, "Oh, that's going to take some good pictures," and I never see them. So I never. It's funny because
you're not the first. You're not the first one to say that. Like we're talking, Paul Chafin. We walked into Daniel Boone. I had 3 camcorders and 4 GoPros, and we were just going to set them up. And he said that same thing too. He also said it was what I was going to tell you. I forgot that he. Oh gosh, what was it? It'll come to me. I'm getting old. But yeah, no, Paul says that same thing too, and he's got some really cool theories. So when we have him on, it's gonna be a good one. So I'm sorry I didn't interrupt you, but
no, I think they can tell if you're using electronics. Anything that's taking batteries, they can tell that you got it on you, whether you got it out or on your person somewhere. They just know.
We were a minute in, and all the batteries are gone. Dead.
Oh yeah.
And I checked them all before I left the hotel. And he said, "Well, you're only going to be able to use your iPhone." And I always thought, maybe it's not just an iPhone. No, it's just an iPhone. I don't know how they don't hack the battery or.
That's the same. And I'm gonna tell you, that's the same thing. Like my Android, they have zapped that phone so many times, man, that I couldn't even use it anymore. That's why I had to buy the iPhone. Yeah. They've somehow found that frequency on my Android, and me and Peyton, we'll be driving down the road, and I'll have it in my cup holder, and all of a sudden the screen will just start swiping on its own, and then it'll go halfway, then freeze, and you'll see a bunch of different color lines. Yeah, then it'll start swiping back the other way. It'll go to it's going to make a call. Yeah, and I just shut it off, quit using it, and now it works fine because I don't use it anymore to take pictures of them. And I use my iPhone because they can't seem to get the frequency on that iPhone.
Right. Oh, frequency. I'm glad you said that too, because it's got to be something like that.
Yeah.
That they can't get through the case or something like that. But he had told me that 4 or 5 years ago. Oh, you need to get an iPhone. It's got to be, an 11 or.
I get a 15 or up.
15 or up. That's what it was. Yeah. Oh my gosh, man.
Cool that a former military guy wrote, and he said that they were pursuing a Bigfoot or a Dogman with a drone. And the
Oh, yeah.
dogman, I guess, got frustrated with it and just snapped back and looked at it, and the drone fell right out of the air.
That doesn't surprise
And
me.
That's frequencies. Yeah.
And he said they distort pictures. They have the
Yeah.
ability to do that. And I believe, and he believes too, that they emit a low level EMP that is strong enough to distort pictures,
Yeah.
drain your batteries,
Yep.
and radiation and frequency, which in
Radiation
some
is a big thing now. Yeah.
encounters people get nauseated and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And it could be
Yeah.
from the radiation.
Wow.
I was out by the dumpster one day and seen one about 40, 50 yards away, standing there. He was foliage from his waist down, but the rest of his body was up. And I was looking at him. He was looking at me. And I took my phone and went to go take a picture. I could, with my own eyes, he was perfect. In the picture, he was smudged. In my phone, the screen, his face looked like it looked green and just smudged from the green foliage. You couldn't. You could still make out his shoulders, and you still a little bit of part of the round part of the top of his head, but his face and everything was smudged. But with my own eyes, he's perfect. So I went ahead and took a picture of it anyway. I can't use it for comparison of what he was looking at that I could see with my eyes, but I can show you what he looked like when I took the picture that when he was on my Android phone.
Yeah.
And he just was able to smudge. And you know, I could take a picture with this Android at 100 yards away and it'd be crisp, clear picture. Now you put one of them in it, it's all fuzzy, blurry.
Story.
Yeah. And people say, oh, you need to buy another camera. I said, man, I have bought those cameras. They don't work.
Yeah.
I tried the trail cameras. They avoid the area. If I put trail cameras out, they don't even come around that area. So, and I told them I would never try to sneak and take a picture. Now, when I take pictures of them, I usually tell them, hey, I'm taking your picture. If you don't want to be in it, hide. You got 3
There you go.
seconds.
Hey,
It's
and
a
if they can
trust thing.
distort, yeah, if they can distort phones and pictures and stuff like that, then they can just mess with about anything.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, yeah. It's
Yeah.
crazy, you know. When they were when I first learned about the woo, when people were telling me about the woo, you know, I was
Yeah.
like, no way, no way, no way can they cloak, no way can they come in your house,
Yeah.
no,
No, they
no
can.
way. Yeah, man, I learned, you know, and it. I've always said I'll never try to make anybody a believer. It's going to take seeing one for you to actually 100% believe.
Yeah.
I just say I'm simply sharing my stuff. You can believe it if you want. I'm not trying to make you believe. I said just when you're out in the woods, look a little harder, listen a little more.
Well,
And,
you were catching crap from a different group. And
yeah,
I think the night before I had seen that, and I'm like, these are the reason that some of these groups don't get very big, because they're constant little, things and that.
and they
piss
were
people
good
off.
pictures. They were
Yeah.
good
Oh
pictures.
yeah.
And
No,
people
I
were
you send them.
making fun of me. I'm like, dude, I don't. What else you want? You know,
I'm like,
you want to
yeah, man.
come
if
up and
you
shake its
can't see
hand?
it,
We
you
don't
can't
do.
see
We don't
that.
allow that in our group. We don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't
We
allow it in
don't
mine either.
tolerate it at all.
Nope.
Which I
do
don't
it.
even have 1,000 members in my group, you know, but I'm kind of glad. I just want people that has authentic experiences or
Yeah.
are very curious and interested in the subject, you know, and that's what it's for. I don't want.
Open-minded.
I've had to ban a couple of people, you know, block a couple of people that's said
Yeah.
some bad things, you know, poking fun. We don't do that, man. Not in my
Yeah,
group.
Larry, how many have we got? How many do we finally just?
Oh God, probably
Well, I put
5,000.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
We
I mean,
we
be
had
way over.
we had right at
100,000.
30, and we're right
Yeah.
at 29 now. But just the ridicule. I mean, I was
Yeah, it's
on there
crazy.
one day, and a woman was sharing the encounter, and there was like 4 or 5 people jumped in there like a badger, calling her a liar. Oh, you're full of. You didn't see that. No.
Yeah.
I was like, bloop, 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 bloop. All of
I
them
posted
gone.
that this morning too about,
Uh.
you're not just wasting time. We have to go through, kick you off, and then, other people come in, but it takes time away from you, the person who's actually in the group, so that they can, connect with others that they're having the same thing. And
Yeah.
so, and Larry and I, we had done we were teaching. So we were doing, we had independent research groups. I mean, we did that for a while because so many people had asked for it. But I can see where a lot of the problem is, because we can't show or teach something that we've seen without them a constant problem. And it takes what, 10 minutes away from
The biggest problem about it keeps people that has experiences from even wanting to come out. Like
Of
what if
course,
somebody
yeah.
just joined your group and is like, man, I got they could have the best video or picture in the world, never shown anyone. They come on a group just to see what goes on. And so to see if this is a group I want to finally share this evidence to, then right away they see ridicule, somebody getting burnt on ridicule just by showing a picture or telling a story. They're like, nope, I'm not showing anybody ever. And they could have the best proof in the world, or the best video ever, better than the Patterson film, and they won't show because they are watching somebody get ridiculed. And I never understood why people want to take the time of their day to sit and be on a group like that and just make fun of somebody. It don't make sense.
It's a shame.
You don't have to believe.
Yeah.
You don't have to believe their story or anything. But why sit and go out of your way to make fun of them and laugh at them and say, "Oh, they're not real. You're lying." That's just too much, man. They need to grow up.
Well, that's when I posted the rules of the group, and it posts
that's number one
every morning. So there's no excuse of why you come in, break the rules, and Larry and I, we just kick them out. We don't handle it. I'm just done. I'm gone. We've got other people that they're taking time from, meeting friends here and telling their stories, and it's disgusting. It really is. And that's one, I have PTSD too. So, you see people that haven't said anything about Bigfoot or whatever, probably 10, 15 years, and they've been dealing with it. They finally see a group and okay, well, that's great, but that's crap, You say that to them, all these people are going to go, fuck this. This is ridiculous. So, and they probably won't say anything again for the rest of their lives. They're that villainized from it.
Well, that's like that woman I was telling you about in Michigan that talked to me for 5 hours after watching my other podcast, saying that she's so glad that I got on there and even gave out my email so that she could finally talk to me. Yeah. And I guess she had heard my first podcast a year before, but she didn't know how to get a hold of me. But when she heard this second one and got my email, she finally called, emailed me first, and I gave her my number. And she talked, and she was so thankful, man. She said she never told anybody but her son. Of course, her son had his own experiences, and then one other lady that done Bigfoot researching, and that was it. And she just she just felt like she had this weight that she had to just tell people that they're real,
Yeah,
and she had some good pictures.
Therapy for that person.
Yeah, I'm a counselor, so I work with other PTSD, and these people, they have it. It's they don't leave the house. They're agoraphobic. They're on meds. If they're not on meds, they're alcoholics, and they're doing this for 10, 15 years, and then burying all this, and then you end up getting people that are committing suicide and stuff like that. So
well, it could be somebody that's never even really heard of Bigfoot. I never heard of Dogman until I seen the first one. And had I known that wasn't, I'm thinking, well, that's not a Bigfoot. What is that?
Yeah.
That's some scary stuff within 30 feet of seeing a big dog man, and it showing its teeth at me. That was pretty scary. Oh yeah. He had a real wide back, and he tapered real skinny at the waist. He didn't have a tail. People seem to have tails. Every dog man I've seen didn't have a tail.
It's funny you say that though, because I think Vic Cundefit said that several times. Nobody's seen the tail, and he would ask, did you see a tail? And people are going, no, I didn't. Well, if you look at some of the pictures that are the most believable, they've got that big
I've never seen one. I mean, I've seen the hair tapered down their back, the middle of their back from their head. And you know what they remind me of is Great Pyrenees, that breed of dog.
Yeah.
It's got the real thick skin neck. It's for protection. That's what I see a lot of these dog men have. They're real thick necks.
Oh, so
and they hang down.
Oh, so if the teeth or something goes there,
bites into them, it's biting into a big bunch of fat and fur.
Oh,
or
okay.
skin, you know.
Fucking
And that's how I now that's the older dog men, the older ones.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. The younger
Huh.
ones, I've seen some out here that are muscular, like the one that's walking down the hill. I got a picture of a front view of him, which I took a picture of him going down the hill, but I can't find it. He's got his head looking over his left shoulder at me, and he just showed his teeth. He had that German Doberman pincher, skinny snout, big pointy ears.
Big old ears.
I
Yeah.
didn't know it when I seen him go down the hill. I thought it was Sasquatch.
Yeah.
Just really short hair though, real short hair, like almost kind of like a boxer hair. You know what I mean? It's where
Yeah.
I could see all of its muscles rippling on its back and its arms and stuff. It was like a charcoal gray.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and like I said, I didn't know what a dog man was, and had I not reached out and asked all this time, that would if somebody with less mental capacity or something seen something like that,
Game over.
and been scared to death and have to deal with that and afraid to talk to somebody, and then when they try to talk to somebody and said they seen a man with a dog head, and they're afraid to talk because they're getting ridiculed. So
Yeah.
I
And then
just
you
wish
go, they finally open up on a site, and then you get some idiot that says one thing, and it's
that's it.
you know.
I've done that. I mean, I will let it go for a while. I got thick skin. But when it just keeps going on and on and on, I'm like, come on, man.
It
Why
gets
are you
real
doing
old.
this? And that's why I left that one group. And I made a big post before I left too. I said, you know what, you
Good.
guys, you admins and whoever's running this group should really
Yeah.
watch what people say on here. And
Yeah.
I explained
Well,
to
I
them
think
just
I
like I
said,
just talked about here. What if it's
Yeah.
somebody for the first time wanting to talk and they won't because they're going to get ridiculed?
Yeah.
You
Well, I
know?
think that I did that too, as when you were leaving that group. And I remember saying, you have no idea what you guys just pushed away. I mean, there's nothing that you've said that is even not close to what other people have seen, Dogman and these things. And you're pissing this away. That's fine. I'll take him in my group. I'll take him any day, So that was
Yeah.
one of the things I had said too on them.
Yeah, I'm not in too many groups. I just joined one that Paul, what's his name, wrote
Japheth.
the Bigfoot Believer and Cryptid or whatever.
Oh, Daryl's?
No, the Paul Pilates or
Oh, Dave? He
Dave
was just
Pilates.
on
Yeah,
Joe Rogan yesterday.
yeah. I seen something on. I seen him talking with Joe Rogan, and he's
Yeah.
mentioned that website. So I joined that group today. And man, I've been greeted by so many people just to say, "Hey,
Yeah.
I'm new to the group. Thank you all for letting me join." Blah blah blah. Man, boom, boom, boom. Hey, welcome in, welcome in. And,
Yeah.
and their biggest thing is no ridicule, no making fun. If they catch you doing it, you're gone.
Yeah.
And I said, well, this might be a good group.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the first things we
You're in our
addressed,
group, aren't you, Brian?
I'm not sure. I think you told me you had like several groups that. Yeah,
Yeah, we have 5.
yeah. I don't
So,
know it. Which one is it that
Cryptid
The
Wranglers,
Cryptid
one of them.
Wranglers, I think's what I
Oh,
seen.
That's
right,
our
right,
first
right.
one. And we started out with 600 people. And I had to have back surgery, and I thought, with ADD, man, I can't sit around and do nothing and watch TV all day. And so I started posting more, and I said, hey, I'm going to end up having surgery. I'm going to be up sitting here if you got questions. And I started just opening it up. And we went all the way to 28,000 in 6 months. So, yeah. And a lot of the guys that were original members are from most of, a lot of the other groups. Adam Davies is one, Larry, Daryl, who else? Martin Groves. I mean,
Yeah, I've heard
those
that.
guys were our firsts. And it was because
Yeah.
I had met a couple of them and the other guys. But, yeah, no, it's, yeah.
I just tried to join it. I went to I filled out the first question and went to
Oh,
swipe up to do the next one and hit submit by accident, so I didn't get to answer all the other questions.
no worries. And I'll put you right through. Or, yeah,
Okay.
Larry's good at that
So
stuff.
we'll put you
He has a
right
much
through
better
and
memory than
approve
me.
your post, pre-approve them, and
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
we'll get you
I
lined
couldn't do it
out.
without Larry. I really couldn't. I mean, almost 30,000 people between 5 groups.
But
There's no way. And that's why I was like, man, and he was learning so fast, so much, so fast. I was like, oh man, I need you. So
Yeah.
he's doing great too as a co-host. He's
I did
on
welcome
other
you to
podcasts.
the Bigfoot Believers group because Bruce Brown was on there and a
Yeah,
couple
yeah,
other people welcomed you.
yeah, yeah. No,
You'll
that's
like that
it's
group. They're a safe group too. They
yeah,
don't tolerate no ridicule or name
yeah.
calling or belittling. Uh, we encourage people to share their encounters.
Yeah,
It
that's
helps.
yeah.
Psychologically, it helps. There's no
I just had this lady on my group. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, buddy. I
no,
think
no,
there's a
no.
little
You're
bit of
good.
lag
No,
on my end.
No.
Uh,
Trust me, I'd rather hear you than
go
me.
ahead, Brian.
this lady joined my group. She's called the Duchess Princess or something. She's
Oh,
not from America. Okay,
oh, she's not.
no, she's from European area. She don't want to like. I never. I don't know if she wants me to give out her location. I guess I can say
Yeah,
the
no.
mayor.
Don't even worry about that. Yeah, not on the show,
But
anyways.
she has got some fantastic pictures.
Yeah,
And I told her, I said, man, thank you for sharing. How'd you find this group? I
yeah.
messaged her and she goes, you'll never, because I asked her what state, would it be okay to tell me what state or, what state she was in? She goes, oh, I'm not in the United States. She goes, you'll never believe me if I tell you where I'm at, and I said, oh, because I got friends in Australia and everything that do this. And
When I
but when
started
she
going
told me,
through,
it's like they're
yeah,
everywhere. They are in every continent. I
yeah,
mean, they're everywhere.
every country except for
Yeah.
Antarctica and
And
Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Yeah.
Yep. Those are the only two where neither one of them been seen. Dogfoot and Big Man. Bigfoot and Dogman. They're so
I've been
synonymous with
researching.
each other
Hawaii does
anymore.
have some like sea cryptids, but no land
Yeah,
cryptids.
Right.
yeah. Well, and
I
we're
guess
gonna
the
have
mongoose are meaner than they thought they would be.
yeah, we're gonna have Katie Elizabeth on too, and she's one of what I believe is one of the best cryptid aqua cryptic. I'm not even sure how she said it, but she's was it Cassie? You remember the on that Caspian Sea? But
Yeah.
she's out there like 9 months out of the year doing the research, and she's got the bloop sounds, and she's got she's got just incredible articles that she's had written, and I saw her get crap from some people, and I was like, man, you are you that dumb to come in here and and say something stupid that's going to offend somebody, and you're gone. We don't pay attention anymore. So yeah.
Hey, you had asked me what was one of my most memorable moments out here,
Oh yeah.
and it just popped in my head. It's when my grandkids stayed for the weekend. Mackenzie and Finley, they're 5 and 4 at the time, and they stayed the whole weekend with me. And we were out on the deck. It was around 11:30 in the afternoon. They were playing and they were laughing because they were throwing stuff off the deck and it was going down. And they were trying to make it to the creek and hit the water, and they were just laughing and going crazy. And I was sitting there looking at my tablet or someone at the table, and Mackenzie goes, Pop, is that a Bigfoot? And I looked up and I said, where? She goes, over there. And sure enough, there was a whole group of them standing there watching the kids. I was like, yeah, it is. I said, wave at them. And so Finley and Kinsey were sitting there waving, and they were waving like this, but the Bigfoot were waving like this, waving back
Cool.
at them. There was some elder women. One of them held up her pet cat, and I got a picture of it. She's holding up her pet cat, showing it to my granddaughter. And the big male came out. He has I'm 99% sure that son or daughter, I'm not sure how old the juvenile is. It looks like maybe 5 or 6, but it looks like it has autistic traits.
Oh yeah, you remember you saying that one?
Yeah, because it's always got its head hanging down. It's never moving around playing like the other ones. It's just always there, or it's always being held by mom or dad. And I've got multiple pictures of that little one, but most of the time he's being held. They don't let him off too far. And I have my daughter, she had a boyfriend that had autistic son. And it kind of reminded me of that, the traits, you know what I mean? That they could be autistic as well, I do believe.
Yeah. And
but yeah,
autism is starting to go, really bad. And
yeah,
there's a couple of reasons why, but in California, it's jumped 9% of the boys that end up having autism or ADD. So at neurodivergent is what they call it. So
I just wonder if it's stuff they're putting in the food.
It could be. Well, that's
You
what
know,
they had said out here was it's, it's the fluoride that you're putting in the water, or it's, these different
uh, you
chemicals.
know, and I've seen them eat out of my dumpster many times. And they're probably eating out a lot of people's trash everywhere if they live close to more of a city area, urban area that has
Yeah.
dumpsters out to businesses and restaurants. They sneak in there at night and eat out of it. So
Yeah.
they could be eating the same contaminants that we are, and that could be causing their autistic traits as
Yeah.
like we are with us, or
Yeah.
drinking the water or anything.
Yeah.
The water they
Yeah.
drink
So,
don't have no filters, so I mean, hard telling what
yeah.
they're taking, and also.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know it's a huge problem is the fluoride that's they putting in the water out here in California.
Mm.
And it's also said that it's, your amygdala that releases some of these certain hormones that help with the understanding of what they're doing, and it's calcifying the part in their brain where it's even where part of where the sixth sense is. So, and it's the eye where they have in Cairo where they have looks
Yeah.
like the King Tut eye.
Yeah.
That's
The eye
exactly
are
like an
raw.
amygdala. Yeah, yeah, amygdalas. It's crazy, but it's
Yeah.
it's real.
Yeah. I got a picture of a female. Uh, and I'm just gonna tell you how the picture is.
Yeah,
I'll even send it to you one day. She's like leaning forward. There's a toddler down by her right side, and he's reaching up, and he's grabbed her by the breast, and he's squeezing it, and milk is shooting out of her breast. Like it looks like it's just gushing out like a volcano. But
yeah,
she has this big tumor coming off her cheek. It comes down with a big like skin, and it's a ball right down here hanging off the side of her cheek. This is this
big
huge
goiter.
tumor,
Yeah,
and I felt bad for her, but um, but the people say that they can heal, like the Bigfoot can heal
yeah,
you if you're sick. But the thing of it is, if they can do that with us, how come they can't do that with them? Why can't
yeah,
they fix that tumor, or why can't they fix that autism if that's what it is?
yeah,
Because
yeah.
I've got a picture of one. He straight up looks like, he's got mental disabilities or whatever. I don't know how to say this. But you can see it in his face. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's always got somebody with him. Always got somebody with him. And then I'll send you a picture of him later too.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
And you'll see what I'm talking about when I send you the pictures.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's crazy how they can have all this. And I've heard stories of them healing people that had a limp. I watched this one documentary. This guy had a limp for years, and then all of a sudden he's healed. By them healing him. And I don't know if it's true. Maybe that's what that feeling. I was out by my Jeep that day, and I was feeling that warm feeling over me. I thought I was going to get electrocuted or hit by
Yeah.
lightning. They
Yeah.
might have been doing something to me and healing me with something I don't know
Could
I
be.
got.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
I just wonder
can you
if they.
imagine though what society would do if they heard that they can heal?
Yeah.
It would just be they'd attacked.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
they would be going through the woods trying to find, please heal me or heal my son
yeah.
or something.
Yeah. And there'd be a ton. I mean, there
Yeah.
would just be blocks of people coming in. So yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think they're real selective on who they want to communicate with, or
Yeah.
let them see them, and if they don't like you, you're not going to see them. If
Yeah.
you
Well,
if you see them, that's because they let you.
yeah. Well, and that's another thing too. When people are saying, "Oh, okay, well, you have the Dogman, you have the Bigfoot, then you have the orbs, then they're in the UFOs." They are, I imagine, and part of the woo. Another problem that people are dividing this whole community over. I got
Yeah.
a couple of friends, husband or not husband, but dad and son. They don't talk anymore. There's one's woo, the other one isn't. And they don't do holidays. They don't just bury it, constant, just back and forth. And it's sad. And that's the worst of what's going on in our groups anymore. So,
Well, I didn't believe in the woo when they were telling me about the stuff that they could do.
oh,
I
me
didn't believe.
neither.
I just took it as a grain of salt. I
Yeah.
just put it back in the file back here in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
But in my hearts, I didn't believe it. It took just a few months of me seeing them every day and seeing what they can do, and the things that they do. Like I watched them cloak right in front of me,
Yeah.
and I've got a mid cloak on my phone, with my pictures that
Yeah.
you
I think
still
you
see
sent
their.
me a couple.
Yeah, they're mid cloaked, and then when they cloak all the way, you can still see. It's just like the Predator movie. They look
Oh, yeah.
just like that. You can still see their outline. If you knew where they were, if you didn't know they were there, you wouldn't see them,
Nope.
especially if they stayed still. But I've seen them cloak. I've seen them be right there with me and completely invisible, and I know they were there. I was laid on the ground, I was stacking firewood, and I remember it was drizzling snow. It's kind of cold, and I was sweating. I was sweating to be crazy, and my back was hurting. And like my property's nothing but thick moss everywhere. So I
Yeah.
seen that moss, and I just thought, I'm gonna lay down and stretch my back. I laid there. That's the first time I think they've ever seen me lay on the ground. I was
Wow.
laying there, and I was in there about probably 5 minutes, and all of a sudden I felt this presence. Well, I felt I was being watched. Then I felt
Yeah.
like something come up and sat down beside me. I didn't hear or see anything. I felt it. I
Yeah.
felt the warmth of them, the
Yeah.
presence. It's like my son would have come up and sat beside me. And it was just like that. I just kept looking up. My mind was clear. I was just looking up at the treetops, feeling the snowflakes hit my face, and just thought, man, this is awesome. This is great. And then after about 10 minutes of that, the presence left. And then
Yeah.
I got up, went right back to work,
It's a
And
gift.
but
It's a gift. People are saying a curse. It's a gift to see something like that.
yeah,
Yeah. But
I'm
the
very
only reason.
fortunate.
Yeah. The only reason I believed in the woo was because Martin Groves and I were talking at one of the Crypticons, and he's like, "Oh no, this there is woo out there," and I'm like, "Oh, okay," and I trusted him. And once we get through the weekend and we were talking about it like it was nothing, I'm going, "Okay, that's my belief. That's all I needed to hear was Martin Groves tell me. That's all it was." So
Yeah,
yeah,
I never would have believed it until I witnessed it. Like
yeah,
them coming in my house. My
yeah.
son Peyton, come here. You probably won't be able to see him, but he's going to tell you a story about what happened
Sure,
in
yeah.
his bedroom one night.
Oh wow.
The doorway. I don't know if you can hear him. Can you hear him?
I haven't.
Now I'm talking
Yeah.
now.
Oh, okay. You're good. You're good. I hear you.
So I'm just trying to remember. I was laying in bed, and the night before, we had our dog, and we just got him the day before, 2 days before.
Yeah, we only had the Yorkie. This was an assault. This is when it all within the first week of us knowing they were there. Because they tore my Yorkie would always sleep in bed with me or him, and the Yorkie just happened to be in his room that night.
So this is actually the last night. So the night before, he'd always bark at like spiders or whatever on the wall, and so that night he was barking at them, and the only light I had on were the LED lights on my headboard and footboard. The hallway light was off, everything was off. And then I turn around to tell him to quit, and he's staring in the hallway. And I look in the hallway, and I see this figure just standing there. It's like blacker than the blacker than the darkness. I saw the outline and everything, and I thought it was him. And I was like, "Dad, what are you doing?" Whatever. He wasn't answering me. And then I turned the light on, and then nobody was there. And then I turned it back off, and that shadowy figure was gone.
Wow.
Yeah, he had messaged me that morning,
Crazy.
or either that night or I didn't see it till that morning. And he said, "Dad, was you in my doorway?" I was like, "No." He said, and then he started thinking about it. He goes, "Oh, well, it had its head bent over so it wouldn't hit the
Ooh.
ceiling, and then it had its shoulders turned sideways so it wouldn't hit the walls of the hallway. The hallway's 40 inches wide. The ceiling's 8 foot tall." And so he thinks and and it's true. The more that's happened, it's definitely true. There was one it projected.
You got to think I'm 4 feet from it.
Yeah, it projected itself to his doorway. Like we had just built that room. We didn't even build a door. We hadn't had a door framed up yet or nothing. So it's
Yeah.
his room then the hallway.
Well,
And
I'm thinking that they are able to change where portals are located, because
oh yeah,
I've heard that too, where people have said, I was walking down my hallway and boom, it showed up, and they couldn't believe what it was. But I don't know if they had changed the location of where the portal would be, or if they are doing it deliberately to get into your home, which
I,
I've heard
I,
too.
I think they can project themselves.
Yeah.
They can meditate and project yourself. I got a picture of the clan leader meditating, and I think he was reading my daughter's mind and reading my daughter and son-in-law, my grandkids out there one day. He was sitting there, had his both hands on a tree like this. His eyes were closed. You could tell he was meditating, but he was facing the kids. He was up on the ridge. The kids were down here by the creek. And
Yeah.
there's like 3 or 4 Bigfoot behind him, just watching. But he looked like had his hand on the tree and both hands on the tree on the sides of it and just closing his eyes and meditating. And I think he was just reading them. I think he can get in their minds and see what they're all about. And I think he's done it to me and Peyton quite a few times. But I also think they can project yourself. My security cameras picked up some wild stuff in my house, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, the most recent one was it looked like an alien sitting in my recliner.
No, the most recent one was the light.
The light.
It was dark. It was getting dark, and the sunlight was peeping through the.
Oh yeah, a big bright light, just like started like real bright light, just started forming in my living room.
And the other one was
portal.
And it got big, and then it shrunk back down, and it got big again, and it would,
Right, exactly what Daryl and Martin had said. Same thing. They just saw this opening. They saw something crawl out onto the ground and then hide and then come up on to the back of their truck, Martin's truck. But there was another story I just heard recently. I can't remember who it was, but they were riding horses and they had seen a Bigfoot. And instead of the horses freaking out, seeing it, which I would imagine would freak, that it actually put the horses in a trance. And it's just like, I'm just going, and I'm like, shit, that could be. Totally.
Yeah. I looked at Peyton and laughed because I remember the deer.
Oh, yeah, the deer.
Okay, I'm going to tell you a story about a deer.
Yeah.
We were sitting down on deck. This little fawn comes running out on the ridge on the other side of the creek. Man. I just bleating the beat hell. Walks all the way down the trail, and then it cuts into the woods on the opposite side of the trail from where we are. And it's just sitting there, bleed, and all of a sudden a doe comes out from the nesting area, and it's just bucking and jumping and going crazy. I look at Payne and said, look at that doe. I said, I think it's got its legs caught up in vines or something. It's trying to kick them off. And then all of a sudden it turned sideways, and its whole right shoulder on its leg, everything was ripped off. You can see white meat, red meat, blood dripping. Just the whole front leg, shoulder, and all was gone. And then it's bucking around, and all of a sudden it just stopped, perfectly still. Then it just hopped, you know what I mean? Walked right back into that nest. It stood there for a minute, about 20 seconds, and was looking at the nest. Then it just hopped right back into it, just kind of waddled away right in there. And all night, and all the way till the noon the next day, we heard that little fawn crying. And I asked Peyton, I left, and I said, when that fawn stopped crying, he said, probably around noon. I didn't hear it no more. So so I think they controlled that doe and said, hey, you come back over here, buddy. We're hungry.
And that's what I mean is like having you on and several other people like Scott Brush. It's
kind of comparing the stories.
Yeah, and it's perfectly aligned. So it's really weird, but it's the exact same thing happening over and over. Yeah. So it's cool to come and put these things together. If you saw it, I saw it, Larry saw it, then it's it's more of a credible theory, not theory, but I guess vision of what we would see. And so that's where we come up with a lot of this research is putting two and two together and end up finding out, you saw it, I saw it. And, basically nobody else is going to believe you, but it doesn't matter. We're past that. So
it's like I always say, I'm not trying to make anybody a believer. I'm just sharing what I see and hear. If you like it, follow me. If you don't follow me. And I've invited some people out here that had followed me, and always had positive things to say, and and it's real cool about the stuff. And I say, you know what, you want to come out here, you're welcome to come out my next camp out.
Yeah.
And now Rick's been out here 3 or 4 times. He was supposed to come this weekend, but it's raining so bad. There's no sense coming in the rain. They hunker down in the rain. Um,
Yeah.
but
Oh my
yeah, so
gosh.
it's like, I mean, you don't need to. I mean, you don't like. I could show you these footprints like this. You know what I mean? I can show you this stuff all day long. You know what I mean? These footprints and stuff and pictures and stuff. But like I said, it's been for you to be a 100% knower, believer. You have to see one.
Yeah. Well,
And
you
my
know,
gir-
and my wife had said that same thing where you can't see that picture. Well, for us, we don't need to see that picture. We know it's real and it's
yeah,
there. And it's because it's constantly reinforced in our mind saying, hey, you know, this is out there. This happened with this person. And then you start going, oh, really? Because this happened with that same, you know, person down the line. And then you start to come with these theories and start to straighten them out and make sure they work and then release them.
right,
So we
right.
were going to do, in fact, I was just talking to Scott Brush about possibly having another podcast night on Thursday. We're going to do Theory Thursday. So yeah, we're gonna, you know, what's your theory? We'll take, you know, questions and stuff, and give what we got, you know, to each other, and then it'll end up making more and more sense. It's just,
Right.
it's really cool. It's really cool to how it's done. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be cool if you got people, even if you had a way for them to be anonymous
Yeah.
and tell their story on your podcast. Man, I would love to hear
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Oh,
Or
definitely.
their theory
Good
on
thinking.
things, because
Yeah.
I'm not smart by any means. I'm only
Oh,
guessing.
yeah.
Everything I see and do out here is a guessing game.
Yeah.
I don't know if they like me. They might just tolerate me. You know,
Yeah.
I think first chance I get. Now I've got pictures of them flipping me off. You know, if
Yeah.
I've taken too many pictures, they're flipping me off. They're like, "Hey, okay,
Really?
five's enough, buddy. You know,
Yeah.
leave." You know, and that's true. I do. I got several pictures actually of them flipping me off.
Really?
Because
So they know what
that's
that
back in
means.
the time when I was taking 100 pictures a day. You know, I don't do that anymore, and they've not done that anymore. So I don't know if they know what it means. Just see, you know, humans done it, and they go, "Oh, that
Yeah.
must mean hello," or "You're number one. I like you." But then
Yeah.
again, they might know exactly what it means. You know, because
Yeah.
they seem
Yeah.
to do it at the right time when they do it
They
to
might
me.
have come up with it. We just followed
Yeah.
along.
And I'll tell you another thing that I see them doing a lot. I see them pointing up, and I don't know why they're pointing up. Like I'll get a picture of them, then I'll get another one, and then the next picture they're like pointing up like this, or they're pointing up like this. I don't know what that
Really?
means. Yeah, I've always asked them. I tell them they don't never answer me. I mean,
Yeah.
they've mind spoke to me a few times, but that was
Really?
2024. Yeah, they haven't mind spoke to me since. But that was the first clan. That first clan's either moved further back or they left the area.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
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 So this new clan just now started gifting me. I gift them all the time, you know, and
Yeah.
they just now started gifting me back. But that first clan would gift me all the time. That first clan was cool, man. The males would hold up their babies, like they'll have a new baby, and they'll hold up and show it to me and be smiling, and I'll get a picture
Kidding.
of it, you know. And
Jeez.
then
Yeah.
like I'll go out,
Selfie.
I'll walk the trail, I'll say, "Hey, can you guys do a wood knock for me? Let me know if you're out here close." About 5 seconds later, smack. You know, and I got that on video. I was out there one day. I knew there was a few of them down here on my left, down the hill from I was on the bridge. I knew
Yeah.
they were probably about 25, 30 feet away down on my left, but I was hearing something on my right. And I had my phone, I was recording, and I knew they were there, but I was looking over here, so I went to pan. Just as I started panning, you see a rock come and hit a tree from the left. It comes up and bounces off a tree, about a golf ball sized rock.
Yeah.
Not hard. They were just doing it. Say, "Hey, no, we're down here." But I knew there was one over there. You know, and there'll be
Yeah.
times me and Peyton will walk the trail. We'll hear, I can't hardly do it 'cause I'm losing my voice to allergies, but we hear like a light woo, you know,
Yeah.
and me and Peyton were like, "Woo, we hear the woo." And
But
that's
it's
just
not.
them showing us where we are. You know, they're like,
Yes.
"Hey, we're right here," you know, or
Yeah.
they'll throw a rock or a stick, say, "Hey, we're over here."
Yeah. And well, and they mimic too, you know, and they can do so much with their mouth
Yeah.
because of that range above and below what a human hears. And, you know, that's part of being not shocked. I think I forgot what you said it was, but yeah, I mean, it's
Well,
one of
Peyton,
those things that
he's right
happen.
there. But Peyton told me all the time. He'll text me, "Are you hollering my name?" Like his room's in the out back and behind the garage. You
On the
know, we
tree
go there
line,
and right
right?
there. And he'll say,
Yeah, mimic.
are you hollering for me? Are you saying my name? I'm like, no, man, I'm in the living room.
That happens a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
happens all the time. That kind of
Don't go
worries
out
me.
there.
'Cause-
They're
but that's
somebody's
coming from in the
going.
house. That's coming.
So it's not
Well,
like
it can happen. Yeah, in the
Yeah.
house because and it's basically you have to invite them in before they can do anything. So these mimics are actually demonic, and there will be people that were, you know, the husband's out of town, not even in the same state or a different country, and then you've got the wife that is going, well, he's on a trip. How the hell can he be calling me from the tree line?
Right.
Well, unless you answer, and that's part of the what Paul had said too was no, you didn't. So if somebody says, "Hey, did you hear that?" No, you didn't, because they're trying to lure you in. Well, if you open the front door, that's just as much because you'll hear knocking on the door. Please help me. Please help me.
I just heard
And
that
they'll
the other night, the knocking on my
yeah,
door
and
by my room.
yeah. Well, and they'll call your name if they hear your voice, and they can. It has to be something that's invited in. And there was one thing that me and Paul Chafin had talked about was, yeah, dogmen are there, but before they can do anything, they have to warn you. If you don't heed that warning, then it's free to go ahead and do whatever it does, you know. And you're going to start seeing that a lot more. Mimics are just,
I
and
don't want to
they're,
see that crap.
yeah, no,
That's
you
I'm
don't.
already
It's
dealing
scary.
with enough. I don't need to deal anymore.
Yeah,
okay,
I know,
so
right?
with the whole
With all
me hearing my
you guys
name
going on.
thing, it's more so like I don't hear it, but I hear it in my head, but not with my ears.
Kind of like a
That's
mind
possible
speak.
too.
Yeah, the mind speak
Like a thought of hearing anything.
yeah,
Yeah.
Peyton, he would get dreams all the time.
yeah. I mean,
Vivid dreams. I think the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
female Bigfoot would always be here in the office.
Yeah.
And then
or I got to hold a baby on the bridge. She let me hold her baby, and then I saw this gigantic white creature that walked on all fours come up to me, and I petted it like a dog, which was
No
weird.
way.
That was weird.
yeah.
It's
Well, he
funny
also
that
seen me get my nose ripped off by a bunch of Bigfoot.
Yeah, because so that dream we were, and they always turn into humans. If they're black, they turn to like black humans, Mexicans, whatever. When they turn to human form, the same age too, old or whatever. And
yeah.
that day we were shining lights out there in pitch black darkness. We were shining lights, and they didn't like it, I guess. So that's why they jumped up and slapped you across the face, and then you died in the dream. And then I went in there and sat with them on the couch.
Yeah.
And I'm out
They-
there bleeding to death. But yeah, he said that when he held that baby, he said it felt so real. He said he felt the warmth of it and everything, the hair.
Yeah.
It babbled like a baby.
Yeah, he said it was so vivid, like a dream or like
Yeah.
real.
There's some times where I have dreams that are just dreams.
No, he said he talked to her too, and he asked her something about what did she need anything,
That was the very first one. That was the first dream I ever had, and that was in here.
and said that she was
Yeah, they were
mad
moving on.
because they were moving on, and the other ones
They
would
were
help her get ready.
help. But when I walked into the office here, there was two in the corner that had just white faces, but looked Indian. Had Indian style like headbands and stuff, but they had white faces.
Oh, really?
And she was crouched over in here, and then trained.
Because she was so tall that she had
Was that a
big over-
dogman or a Bigfoot?
Bigfoot.
Oh,
And then she
okay.
transformed into a human here in the breezeway, and we sat down and talked.
Yeah, there for the longest time, Peyton was. I mean, he was scared, about them being out here
Oh,
for
wow,
about a
yeah.
year. For about a year, like if
Yeah.
he thought I was going to leave, he was going with me. It didn't matter if it was 12 o'clock in the afternoon.
It's funny
Because he
because
did not want to be here by himself. And I think the
Yeah.
reason why they did human form in his dream, so they changed the human form, so he wouldn't be as scared.
yeah, yeah, I
and,
can see that.
when I got on my security camera in the house, it doesn't, the picture's not there, but the sound is there. We're here in the office. And it's when I was talking on the phone that same night before I went to bed to a BFRO guy. And he's like, don't, do you ever get surprised about them anymore? I said, well, I used to get excited that I don't really get excited when I see them anymore. Not like I used to. Well, that same night, I have these accordion style doors, they open and then they fold together when you open them up, right?
Yeah.
They are always closed and they work perfectly. Nothing's wrong with them. You can open them real easy with 2 fingers in each doorknob. And one night, I heard a loud boom, and I was like something slammed. I thought my kitchen island had slid across the floor and hit the wall. I was like, oh my God. You know, and I'm laying in bed. I'm like, I'm here by myself. I'm like, well, whatever happened, it's still going to be there in the morning. I'll check it out in the morning.
Yeah.
You know?
And then you come out and there's nothing wrong.
Well, no, I come in here and my closet doors, the right one is slammed all the way open as far as it can go. The other one's
Oh.
completely off the track, laying across the floor. Because had something slammed those doors open real loud. So, oh, you're not getting excited anymore? Well, here's this. Kaboom.
Yeah. Let me show
Busted
you.
out the doors. Because they come in my house all the time. Like I had a whole pack of cookies, family pack size of chocolate chip Ahoy chocolate chip cookies. I ate like 3 or 4 of them with a glass of milk. I had left them on my coffee table. And I got up. I fell asleep on the couch, actually. And I got up and I was like, oh, God, I got to get to bed. So I got up, shut the light off, and went to bed. Left those cookies on the coffee table. Next morning, I get up and I go in there and I lay down on the couch and I just flip the TV on, look over and see that pack of cookies. I said, oh, I'll grab me a cookie. Reach over and grab it. It was almost empty. There was 3 half cookies in it. All the other cookies were gone. I'm
That
like,
is so
hell,
crazy.
and I got up. I was like, was there a daggone raccoon in here? You know, I'm looking
Yeah,
for
exactly.
traces. It was perfectly closed back. No, it's not ripped, not chewed up, nothing. It's like somebody peeled it back open, ate all the
Yeah.
daggone cookies, and shut it back. And I
That's
was
so
like, I was
crazy.
telling researchers about it. I said, oh, yeah, they'll come in your house. And one guy said, yeah, when I give them treats, you know, food, they come in I leave it on my island. They come in on the island and get it and go back out.
Tell them they
I'm
better
like, well,
start paying rent.
yeah. I was like,
Making
well, I don't care
groceries,
that they
yeah.
got them, but, you know, and I've had them in my room. I've had the little Yodas in my room. One time I woke up one morning and I reached over on the passenger side of my bed there and grabbed my cell phone to check my messages. And I was laying on my back and I, you know, raised my phone up, look, and I just kind of looked down to my right and down by my knees, I see this gray head about this big around and well, maybe a little bit smaller, a bit bigger than a baseball. And 2 arms on my mattress like this with claw-like fingers. It didn't have no fingers, just had the big finger and a little finger, like a chameleon.
No
And
kidding.
just on my bed, spaghetti-like shaped arms, just real skinny arms. And they bent at the elbows, but you didn't see any bone structure or nothing.
You think
And
they're
I looked
grays?
at that, huh?
You think they're grays, aliens?
It had
Or
the almond shaped eyes. Yeah, I'll send you a picture of what that thing looked like because I got a couple pictures of him.
yeah.
And when I said, what the, you know, I started cussing. I was like, what the
Oh,
heck
I
are
blame
you? You know, it looked down to its left. It was standing on my side rail of my bed, had its feet up on it. It was only about 10 inches tall. And it looked down to its left, jumped down. I hear its feet hit the floor like tap, 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 ran under my bed. Its head hit the box spring under the bed and went boom. You know, and I'm laying there cussing, like, what are you? Why are you in here? And it took me a good hot minute to get the courage to jump off my bed, to run in through the breezeway in the office, in the kitchen, get my bright flashlight. I finally did it, grabbed it, come back running in there, turned it on, and I was in my doorway in my bedroom, shining under my bed, didn't see nothing. I'm shining around.
Yeah.
I just reached up and shut the door. Said, that's it. I'm moving out of this house. I don't want to
Yeah.
be here. I'm done with
That's
this
one
crap.
thing with my dogs too. And my wife, she would wake me up sometimes and I'd get mad. She said, what's the problem? I'm like, you're waking me up and I was sleeping and in a good dream. It's like,
Yeah.
you woke me up and it ripped it right out. So yeah, scary, but well, when you were saying that, I remember the Sierra Sounds with Ron Moorhead, where he would hear this huge, you know, slamming of pots and pans. He thought they were just trashing the whole campsite. They
Yeah.
came out the next morning, nothing had been moved.
Yeah.
Nothing had been moved.
Yeah. But they have a field day with my security camera because
Oh,
it's
I'm
motion
sure.
and sound detected. It don't turn on until it's the sound or motion. All you hear all night long. Sometimes it makes me so mad. Sometimes I have to shut the camera off. You'll hear like every they'll do one tap on the counter or they'll shut the cabinet door for the camera to kick on, the blue lights to show the infrared and everything turn on. And then when it shuts off, they do it again, tap on the countertop or something else. And they just do it over and over and over to where I don't even turn my camera on anymore. Because my phone keeps going ding, ding,
Yeah.
ding. Every time they do it, it dings all night long. So I was like, hey, I mean, it's probably just little ones, you know. I'm like, okay, you guys you're driving me nuts with the camera.
Yeah.
Well, now we had it outside on the back deck when all this stuff first started going on.
Yeah.
And you know, it lets us know on our phones when it picks up sound or motion and we can watch the video.
Yeah.
We were at my daughter's, you know, an hour away from here. and me and Peyton both bing bing. We get our messages on our phone. It says motion detected, and the phone's outside on the rail, or the camera's outside on the railing. It's a round ball camera on a magnetic base, and we just got it sitting there on the railing, and it's looking down towards the creek. Right, we leave it out there. We were leaving it out there at the time, 24/7, because we always see them coming up the creek. And what had happened was we watched the video. The camera just slowly started tilting back, and instead of aiming at the creek, it aimed at the treetops.
I know.
I'm like, there's no way that's in a magnetic base. Something's gonna have to hold the base while you twist that camera, so it doesn't.
Multiple thumbs.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, well, maybe a neighbor's dog walked on, stepped on the cord, and pulled, and Peyton said, "There's no way it would have knocked the whole camera off. It can't
Yeah.
twist. It's real tight." So I'm like, yeah, that's crazy. And then we get 5 minutes later, we get another ding. Look, the camera just lifts up about 3 inches, turns sideways, and slowly sets back down on the railing.
Okay.
We're like, yeah. And we're like, well, okay, they're out there messing with it. And we hear the Yorkie in the house going crazy looking out the window.
Yeah, I got a Maltese and a Chihuahua. I'm sure you probably heard him earlier. The Amazon guy showed up. He just goes off.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they would tap on my deck like with sticks, tap, 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 tap.
Yeah, I remember saying that.
To get Easton run in there, start barking out, because I have 2 paddock sliding glass doors on one wall, overlooks that side deck. And they get him in there, get him barking, and I'll have a recorder. You'll hear like a little baby laughing, like they're playing with Easton, but they're also tormenting him. Like
yeah.
this is Easton right here. He's got his little
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, if you see him. Yeah, they
My wife's,
torment
yeah,
that
I can
poor
see the
dog.
face. My wife's a veterinarian, so anytime if one of our
Hey,
dogs
Dave.
pass away, we have 2 or 3. What's that?
David Stafford's in the group chat.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a
You
couple
wanna-
questions.
Hang on. I'm old. Let me get my glasses.
Yeah, I can't see any questions on here.
Oh, you can't?
No. I just see you're in the show. Everyone can see and hear you, and uploading recordings. I don't see.
Oh,
You don't see what David does?
yeah, I
Click
saw
all the
it.
way to the left where there's a message box,
Okay.
and then it
see.
highlight the message.
There you go. That's from David. He's been on
Oh,
our show
yeah, I
too.
can see that now across the screen.
Yeah, I had to pull up.
It says, what kind of interaction have you tried to do with them, Brian?
So what's that?
It says, do you try to interact with them?
Have I?
Yeah.
Oh, big time.
Yeah, I talk to them all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, I wave at them, and sometimes they wave back. I'll
Sometimes
talk
with
to
a
them.
middle finger.
Yeah, sometimes. Well, that's when I'm taking pictures. But when I talk to them, like when they have a newborn. Okay, I'll tell you one thing that happened one time.
Sure.
I was walking. I was casting a couple of footprints, and I was waiting for them to dry. I thought, well, you know what? They left me some footprints. I'm gonna take them about a dozen apples back here and put it at the curve of the trail on the stump, because I usually gift back here. So I grabbed my backpack and a bunch of apples and was walking back here. And right before I get to the curve of the trail, you got to walk through 2 cedar trees. And as I was looking down, because there's like some limbs laying on the ground there, so I was trying not to trip over them. And I stepped on them, and I see this pebble, poof, hits me right in the chest. And I see it bounce down on the ground. I look up, and it was a pebble. It wasn't big. It didn't hurt. I looked up, and I thought, and I didn't see nothing. I didn't see any of them. I said, hey, I seen your rock. I'm here. I got you some apples. So I went through the trees and turned left right there, 15 feet away is a stump, big old stump. And I'm taking the apples out of my backpack and laying them there. I think I took them some peaches too or something. And I stood up and said, hey, I left you some apples and peaches here. And then next thing I know, down by the creek behind me, the tree starts falling over, pop, 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 crack, 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 and it is a green tree, had green leaves. I turned and looked, it was just coming down, whoosh, right across the creek. Then I got this not an eerie feeling, but I got the feeling like, okay, leave. You need to leave. So I was like, okay. I said, I got the picture. I can hear you. I'm leaving. So I left. And as I'm walking, I didn't leave. I left. I went back through the trees, and I'm walking down the trail on that ridge. and I keep hearing a female back there going, oh, like crying and stuff in pain. And I thought, oh my God, somebody's died or something's happening. She's mourning, and crying. She's really sad, because I hear a woman crying and moaning and stuff. And so about every couple of minutes, I would hear her moan and cry. And I called a friend of mine in Michigan. She's a researcher. She's been out here multiple times. And we were just sitting there talking. I was like, yeah, it's crazy. I'm sitting on the steps by the bridge. I said, it's crazy. I keep hearing her every couple of minutes crying. And then all of a sudden we hear the males going, woo, woo, like cheering almost.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, Jill, guess what? And she goes, what? She goes, every 2 minutes I'd hear that woman cry. I said, now I'm hearing the males cheering. I said, she was in labor. She was having a baby. That's why they didn't want me over. They've never thrown anything and hit me before. So they threw the rock gently and hit me. Then they pushed a tree over, say, hey, leave. Tonight, now's not a good time. And I got the feeling that I needed to leave. And I'm going to tell you, a month later, I seen a group of Sasquatch or Bigfoot right over here to the left. And then right to the right, about 10, 15 feet away, I see a young female, all black, breastfeeding a newborn baby. So that was her. And she was young, too. If I had to guess the age, she was like 18. She was a young female. And she was breastfeeding a solid black. I mean, the baby almost blended in with her. And when I seen it with my own eyes, I seen it perfect. I seen her breastfeeding the baby. Go to take a picture, and I don't know, this Android, man, it's like it overexposes. All you see is black. I mean, I need to find somebody that can go through pictures and bring out, the filter them and enhance them and do the right thing, And so I got some awesome pictures, but they're kind of blurry or fuzzy or blended in, bleeding into each other, and they're bleeding in together. And but yeah, it was just amazing. That was a really cool experience. To hear her have a baby. And I always thought my area was a birthing area where they come in and have
With the
babies.
nests and
I've
everything.
seen dogman babies. I've seen dogman little ones, little bitty ones. I've
What
seen a
years
baby
were
that looks
what?
like a puppy.
Yeah, what time of the year did you see that Dogman
Yeah,
baby?
in springtime.
Spring? Okay.
It's always, even the Sasquatch babies are in the spring.
That's what I've heard too. So that's what I was thinking. I'm like, okay, well maybe I'll go out there in spring sometime and see, whatever we can get. So, but I've
Yeah.
heard that several times.
I'll tell
And
you,
in
they're more
Rockville.
protective when the babies are there. They're very
Yeah.
much protective.
Oh yeah.
That's why I don't get off trail. I mean, when I cut that trail down that ridge, well, I mean, I can drive my truck through it. That's the only way I can get to my field
Oh
is
yeah.
to drive down through the woods through that trail on that ridge. But they didn't like me driving my truck. They started blocking it with big treetops, and I'm a huge treetop. They blocked it one day, and I told Peyton, I said, "Man, we're going to have to come back out here with my saw tomorrow and cut this up and move it out of the way." I said, "Why would they block it? I got to get to my field." And the very next day, that morning, I went out there with my saw and me and Peyton, and they moved it out of the way, moved it to the right, and turned it long ways with the trail. And I got a picture of it blocking the trail, a picture of it to the left side of the trail where they moved
Jeez.
it. And then I got Peyton standing there in the picture where they moved it. If you look further down the hill, there's three big male Sasquatch back here in the background. I go, okay, we moved a tree for you, buddy. We didn't want to make you mad.
Yeah. We were just kidding.
Yeah. They just
Give me
didn't
one
want me to
second.
drive a truck. So I never drove. I drive my tractor through there. It's smaller, but I don't drive my truck through there anymore.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because they've got tunnels. I know that now. They got tunnels going everywhere in the ground, and they'll pop
Caves.
up in different places in the creek. They'll have, like, I hear them sometimes in the evening. I'll hear big boulders being thrown into the creek, like they're digging and making bigger, making the hole bigger or something. And like when you see they brought all these tree tops and they tore trees down, root balls and all, big trees, big trees. They'll have the whole root ball still connected to them, and they'll bring them and put them down by the creek, or they'll make their nests bigger. They don't live right in the treetops. They're underground. They dig under and lived in the cooler part of the ground, or maybe made them a little cave area right there. The treetops is just a cover for the top, so nobody can walk over their opening. But I've seen them many times come out of the ground. I've got pictures of them coming out of the ground.
Yeah. Portals for Sasquatch. I don't know why it's Sasquatch and not Dogman, but they use trees as portals. So and this is something I've seen. I've had that sent to me, pictures of that. and I'm looking at it, and when you see the portal, it's a tree, two trees at the exact same angle. They could be like this, they could be like that, straight up. But in between there, a lot of people have walked into portals. In fact, Scott Carpenter, he was, I mean, that portal was right there behind him. And there was actually something, it kind of looked like a warrior, and it had stepped out in the this walkway, and you can see it kneeling down on its knee. It's on YouTube too. Scott Carpenter, just an amazing.
Don't live on this phone. Quit.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've got a picture of a portal one walking through it. It's we were having a camp out, and all the researchers, there's probably a dozen of us out there around the campfire, and me, Peyton, and another researcher kept hearing walking to our left. And it's up by the arch tree. Overnight, they made this 20-foot arch tree, and that tree's still alive today. And this has been there 2 years. But they bent this big tree. And if you measure from the ground to the center of that arch, it's 20 foot. And it
Yeah.
bends all the way over, and it's tied to a treetop on the other side. It's like they took all those limbs and wrapped them
Yeah.
around a
Weaved
treetop
them. Yeah,
and keep it down. And we were sitting out there one night. We heard this walking. Everybody else is talking, joking, laughing, and me, Peyton, and Dave, and we're just, or Kevin, I mean, is listening to that one walking. So I get up with my iPhone 15. You know, I put it on photo. You can't see that it's black until you take the picture. Take
Yeah.
that picture, you just hold it still, and when it takes, you know, it does this little thing, takes a few seconds. It takes, and I'm looking at it, and my God, there's a portal, one walking through it. There's a face of another one outside the portal. Big. There, one of the researchers there is 6 foot something, and we had him go out there where we've seen the face, and it's as big as from his belly button to his chin. That's how long the face is, that Bigfoot.
no
And
kidding.
it
Wow.
covers his whole torso. Yeah, we did by measurements because we went by the tree where the portal was at. So we put him there where the face was in that same area because I could see where the tree was. You know, when I took the picture, it lit the tree up. But yeah, there's one walking through it. His hands are going through it. It looks almost looks like a ring of plasma. Once his fingers break through, it looks like he's going
That's
through a
exactly
wall
what
of plasma.
Martin and
Yeah,
Daryl, the
yeah.
exact same
And then
thing.
there's another one behind it, a taller one, but it looked like it had goat. It looked like it had horns going back on its head, like a goat horns or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, Goat
Crazy
Man.
looking creature. Yeah, but
Right,
the other one looked like a
Bigfoot.
little. The one
They're
in front
called,
of it looked like an Ewok coming through.
yeah, they're called satyrs.
Sheep squatch.
Well,
Sheep
there's
watch.
that's too, depending on which area you're in. But I think that was Georgia, kind of Georgia and Alabama. I think was the Goat Man, or no, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
the other one, the one you had just said. I'm sorry, I've got my dog biting on my leg.
Yeah,
behind
if you go on my group, Bail Bigfoot,
Oh,
you'll
yeah.
see. If you got to go wait because I put all my good pictures in the very beginning when I created the group. So you go back through there, you'll see the portals. And there'll be another portal that's in that on that same thing as I said portals on my property, and I have that portal I was just talking about. Then another portal. I was sitting out there at the campfire one night by myself. I see all these orbs in the trees. They're just everywhere. You know, and there's probably 50 of them. And all of a sudden, I see a portal, and like starts opening up. It's just like a bright
exactly what they
white
said.
light. Just starts
Yeah.
like it started opening like a rectangle. And I took a picture of it. I said, "That's all I need." I remember the last one. Something came out. I don't need that coming out here me by myself.
Exactly.
So I took that picture and turned around, just went on in the house. I didn't look back or anything. I didn't look to see that. They said, "Oh, did the orbs go in the portal?" I said, "I don't know. I left." I mean,
Yeah, I'm not going to
I
stay around
seen
to find
critters
out.
come out of the last portal. There's probably something
Let's
coming out of
bring
this
them
one.
there.
Well, you end up with a 12-foot Sasquatch on the other end,
Yeah.
looking
Well,
down
I
on you.
mean, the Sasquatch I'm not scared of at all. I mean, like I said, I don't 100% trust them. I keep
Yeah.
my guard up, but the dogmen, they've never done anything either. You know, they've never done anything threatening. You know,
Yeah, and they
now I will.
rarely do. They rarely
Yeah,
do.
I
But
will
everybody
say the
says
little. I'm
they're
sorry.
gonna, that they're going to attack them or whatnot. And Vic, I've talked to him a couple times, Vic Cundiff, and basically I asked if that had happened. He said, yeah, he had that same thing happen. God, what was I going to say? There was something else to it, but um, it happens. It happens. Definitely does.
Yeah. And like I
My
said, I've
brain
never
is.
had anything bad happen. I've never had one growl at me that I know of.
Oh
Only
yeah,
thing and it's because I respect their area. They
yeah,
got a territory, and they lined that trail with these small trees. They pulled them out of the ground, root balls and all. You know, 2-inch round trees. They lined them end to end on each side of that trail, all the way down through there. That's a barrier I don't cross. I could use the trail, but I don't get off because they got nests on both sides. You know what I mean? They
yeah,
got babies and stuff. I respect that.
yeah,
I told them they were safe on my property. When I told them that second time I seen one, I seen it in a little one. I was actually casting a footprint cast, me and Peyton. And I was just got done pouring, the plaster in there, and I'm putting everything back in my backpack, and we hear a snap, like a limb snapping just down the hill, 20 feet away down the hill. Peyton was already up close to the building, the lean-to building. And I looked down. We both looked because he heard the snap too. But as I was turning my head, I seen a juvenile, shoulders and head, duck down real fast into the foliage. It's like 2-3 foot tall foliage, saplings and stuff, bushes. And I looked at Peyton and said, "Hey, Peyton, I see one." And Peyton just held his arm up in the air and said, "Nope, I'm not ready to see him yet." And kept on walking and left me out there.
yeah,
So I stood up and I look at it and I said, "Hey, I can see you," because I can still see it. Had his little finger, it had his index finger and his thumb holding a sapling still up on the side of the sapling. It's like, don't move. Like it's holding it still, and it had its head turned sideways like this, looking through some leaves. I could see its eyeball and part of its face. And I said, "Hey, I could see you." And as soon as I said that, another 20 or 30 feet down the hill, a big one stands up, but it's behind a big wall of leaves. And all I can see is about from here up, from its eyes up. And it's looking at me, and it looks down at the little one. It looks at me, and it just did it like 3 or 4 times. I said, "Hey, you all aren't in any danger here." I said, "I'm not going to hurt you." I said, "You're
yeah.
welcome to be on my property. You're welcome here." I said, "As long as you don't hurt me, we're not going to hurt you." And then
Well,
and
and
I,
that's one of my thoughts too is because we used to trade with them,
yeah,
and they would do baskets and stuff like that, and we would trade with them. But something happened that either a rogue hurt, a kid or something like that, and I think that was the rift that just divided us from them
yeah,
because we even have who was Ernie with sign language. They understand sign language. In fact, they were doing it, and he's the only one that I've ever heard that they basically taken him down and done all these different hand signals like sign language. And he's like, "Hey, you need to take this to Martin Groves." And I'm like, "Okay," because I was at Crypticon and we did a podcast in the inside of the hotel, and sign language. I took it not only to Martin, but I took it to Dr. Mayer, Ronnie, Russell, and there was somebody else that was there. It floored Dr. Mayer. She's like, "Wait, what?" I'm like, "Here, this is exactly what he's saying." I recorded it on a handheld so you can hear it. And she's like, "No way." And I'm like, "Here you go. Here's the guy's name." She ended up talking to him later.
Hmm.
So yeah. I mean,
Yeah. I
it
got a
blew her
video
away.
of one waving back at me. He's all black. He's with his mate. She's right on the other side of him. I'm on my back deck back there, and I see him down in there, and I just start, I'm waving like this, and he's waving
Yeah.
like this. And he's got this all black body, all black skin. He's got one tan thumb. That one thumb is tan. The rest of him's all black, and you see it. He has, I'm gonna tell you, their hand, how their fingers are. Their thumb is turned the same way as their fingers. Okay, so
No kidding,
when they
really.
their thumb don't turn in like ours. Their thumb turns down. So when he was waving, he had his hand like this, and his thumb was turned down. You see his big pointy thumbnail and everything. I'll
Yeah.
send you the picture of it. I actually got a video
Yeah.
of him waving, but my Android on video doesn't zoom in that close. But you can see the movement of his fingers.
Wow.
Because that tan thumb. At first I thought it was a leaf, but it's actually his thumb. But what I
Well,
was
see,
saying on
that's
that
funny
one
that you.
that stood up 20 feet or 30 feet further down the hill
Yeah.
that day I was casting. Okay, the very next morning, this is my very first mind speak experience. I was laying in bed. It's about 5 o'clock in the morning. My ear just starts. It clicks and starts buzzing like a humming noise.
Yeah. I remember
And
seeing that one.
I'm asleep, but I hear it. Wakes up. I wake up, but I don't open my eyes. And then I get the flash of that one that was down the hill where I seen that much of its face and up. I see the leaves and I see its face or its eyes and everything like I seen, when I was looking at it. I get that flash of that image in my head. Then I hear in a real deep voice, "Wake 'em." And I wake up and I said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." I thought some man was in my house and said, "Wake up."
What
And
was it you said? What was
it,
that
it,
it said?
it Wegum, Wehgum, Wegum.
That
And
means something.
I was
Man.
saying Wagum. I was
Hey,
Waygum. I kept, but
sorry, you're
but
going crazy.
for about 2 days, I kept saying, "Man, I know it said Wagum or Wagum, Wigum or something like that." And I go outside one afternoon on my deck. And this was like 2 days after that mind spoke happened. And I went out there and down in the creek, I hear Wagum. Now all the hair stood on my neck. I said, "Oh my God, it was real. They really did talk to me in my
I
sleep."
think that's Cherokee.
And I'll tell you here in a minute. And
Yeah.
the next day, I had a friend out there. She was sitting on the deck. I come out with my tea and sit on the table, and I sit down. And out there, I hear that same female go, "Wagum." And I'm like, and she goes, my friend, she goes, "Who in the heck was that?" I said, "That's them. That's them in the woods." She said, "They talk?" I said, "Apparently."
No, they just
But
have
it
these mouths.
confirmed, they were confirming that I wasn't dreaming, that they did mind speak to me. But I never said out loud, they did, how they say it. They said, I guess it's in my mind. I'm thinking they said Wigum or Wagum or something. For a couple of days, I kept thinking what they were trying to say. And
Yeah.
I said, because it seems so real, it's so vivid. And then a friend of mine, Jill, up in Michigan, she's a researcher. And for about 6 months, she finally researched it and found out it was Cree language.
Really?
Wegum means friend/brother.
No kidding.
Yeah. So when they said Wagum, they were telling me they're friendly, you know. And then right after that happened, that happened, and the Easton was gone and all that stuff. That first week, they started moving in on the property. They started building nests everywhere. Big. They were dragging treetops in and building these huge nests, and they would weave them all together. I got one that looks like a dome, where they wove all these sticks through, and you can see some in it. See them sitting inside it. And I'm talking, 60 feet from the house, right across the creek here.
Yeah.
There's one down here. There's one behind my building. And the little people, for a month, I was infatuated with just the little people. All I did was take pictures of them. And when I say little people, I mean 6 to 8 inches tall. And I know it sounds crazy, but
No,
dude,
not at
I
all.
got so many pictures of them, and they're right beside a leaf. You know what I mean? So I use
Yeah.
a poplar leaf as measurement. And I got this one female. I got a couple pictures of her. I've seen her a couple of times. She would just look at me and smile. Her hair's combed to the side. She's just looks like a miniature Bigfoot. That's what they look like, miniature Sasquatch.
That
And
is so cool.
I've seen some that are 2 foot tall. They look like a real old Sasquatch, but they're only 2 foot tall. And those are the ones I was told I need to worry about. Don't make mad, because they like to cause trouble if you make them mad.
Yeah. Oh my
I've had the
gosh.
lug nuts on my truck loosened up on one tire where my wheel fell off.
Oh,
I've had my oil filter unscrewed, where I was leaking oil, where somebody unscrewed my oil filter.
no kidding.
Um,
I've heard them do that with machines and other things. They have a capability of turning things on and apparently off too if they're
yeah.
undoing
Well,
your oil.
when my
Oil.
wheel fell off, the people when I had to two different people looked at it. One person that fixed it that night, and when I took it back to the tire shop because that's where I had to put on, they were like, "Who'd you make mad?"
Yeah.
So they didn't make anybody mad. And they're the type of lug nuts where you got to have the certain tool lug nut to
Oh,
get them
that.
off,
Oh,
or
yeah.
lug or socket. And so it's just weird that they loosened up all the lug nuts on one wheel where it fell off. We just got off the interstate too, and the wheel fell off.
Oh,
And I don't know if they were trying to hurt me or if that was just a coincidence or what. But now the oil filter being
yeah.
unscrewed and it leaking oil, I was like, "Where's all my oil
Jeez.
going?"
I
And
think
I
that they
was
kind of
just
mess
leave.
with mechanics.
They
They're
get on
just
my
as
roof.
curious as we are. You
Yeah,
know what I
they
mean?
get up
They're
on my
little
roof.
tricksters from what I
I've
read.
got, huh?
They're
Was
little
that right?
tricksters from what I
Oh yeah,
Oh
read.
yeah.
yeah, they
Little
are. But
people.
you don't want to make them mad. I,
Yeah. No.
I think they're the ones eating all the marshmallow peeps that I give them.
There you go.
I was telling my buddy Rick. I said, we were talking about them today actually, because I took a picture of one today. He's just a little bitty fella, little bitty guy. I got a picture of him. He's got his arm hanging up on a branch. You can see his whole face. You can see his little tan ear, his hair, his arm, everything. He's just hanging off on a tree limb, little sapling.
Gosh,
And
man, that's incredible.
yeah, as a matter of fact, I posted a picture of it in the Bayo Bigfoot group.
I think you did send me that one too.
No, I just took it. I just took it yesterday.
Oh, just took it. Oh yeah. Jeez,
Yeah, it's fresh in the group.
Yeah.
But it's a little person, and I get more laughing about those than I do the Bigfoot. But
Oh,
dude, they're
yeah.
real. I've got, like I said, for a month, all I did was take pictures of them, and I
Yeah.
was like, how can this be? And I was telling a researcher from the BFRO, he goes, "Oh, those are little people." I'm like, but they
Yeah.
are real little. I mean, they're like 6 inches tall,
Yeah.
and it's crazy, man. I got so many pictures of them, hundreds of pictures of them.
Do you
And
think it's do you think it is a fae or more of just the little people?
I
You know what
had
I
so
mean?
many different things go through my head. I thought, well, because I heard somebody say, well, a Bigfoot will, when they come back to physical form, when they in orb form, energy form, they come back, they can change the size they want to be. And I'm sitting there thinking,
Ah,
well, if that's the case, are they the little people just come back in small form? I said, if
yeah.
that's the case, then one deer will feed them for a month,
Oh
feed the
yeah.
whole clan for a month. If they come back 6 inches tall. I said, but I that's that woo stuff. I'm
Yeah.
a believer of the woo, but
Yeah.
I need more evidence for something like that.
Oh,
I have to
definitely.
see more. I just know there's little ones. I don't know if they're their own species.
Jeez.
Now the 2 footers, they look like they're full grown old ones. They got the wrinkles in the face and they're just only 2 foot tall. And
Jeez.
they just look like a miniature Bigfoot. Even the 10-inch ones, they look like miniature Bigfoots. They don't look like they don't. I've seen some certain things wear clothes, but they're not the Bigfoot. They're ET looking things that have the
Yeah,
clothes on.
that's interesting that you have the cryptids, possibly fae or sprites or whatever they call them.
Yeah,
And then you've got the UFOs and the orbs.
yeah,
So you got it all on
yeah.
your property.
There's the portals. I've seen the
Yeah, the
crafts
portals
in the
too.
air.
Yeah.
I've seen the orbs, the little people, the dogmen, the Bigfoot, and I've seen some crazy stuff, man. The ones that were in my room, there was another time there was another one in my room. I kicked at it. It was on the left side of my bed at the corner. I even got a picture of the top of its head.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, it's conical shaped. It's just got fuzz on its head, like
Yeah.
little fuzz. It ain't like hairy. It's just got fuzz.
Like mine.
Kind of like a coconut almost.
Oh yeah. Oh,
And I
that
and
that
I
porcelain
kicked at
room?
it. I said, "Hey, I told you not to come in my room, unannounced." I said, "You let me know you're here, I'll mess with you and talk to you." I said, "If you're just going to sneak in here," I said, "don't come in here." And I haven't seen him in my room since. But that first time when I told you that one was standing on my bed rail before I woke up, or after I woke up, and after all that happened, I shut my door. I was in the living room saying, "I'm done with this house. I'm moving out." My right ear was burning really bad, and I felt back there, and I felt like a fresh cut behind my ear, not on my ear, but on the side of my head, just behind my ear right here.
Oh,
There's a scar there now, and I took a picture of it, and it was a triangle cut with a perfect circle in the middle that looked like it was scooped, like something scooped out a hole right in the middle of that circle. And I got a picture of it, and it burnt all day. It's like my ear was ringing and burning. Well, not all day, for about 3 hours, and
wow.
it healed up. Now it's just a scar, and I'm wondering if that little thing done something to my ear, was
Good.
doing something to me, and I just happened to wake up. But I was watching something on some show or something, and this one guy was talking about how he got abducted, and he had the same triangle cut with a circle in it on his scalp. Yeah, and
Okay.
I screenshot it. I was watching on TV and I said, "Oh my God, that's
Heck
what
yeah.
mine looked like." So I
Yeah.
rewound back to it, took a picture of it, and now I've got it on my phone somewhere where I got a picture of mine and a picture of his. It's a perfect triangle with a perfect circle in the middle, and it looked like it's something scooped out a hole in it.
You know what I saw it the other day too, and Lori was actually she's more of a Skinwalker Ranch kind of girl. She was ticked when I showed up and I was hanging out with all the guys from Skinwalker Ranch. You know, Thomas was there. Thomas and Dragon are going to be on the show here soon. So I got to be good friends with them, and just the coolest people. But yeah, that we're talking about how they have this, all of their arches are at the same angle. So when that tree is, you know, bent over, all those trees are at that same angle.
Hmm.
And I'm just going, hey, did you see that? She's like, yeah, that's kind of weird. And I said, did you see the other one? She's like, are those the same thing? And that's two different things. And she's going, no way. And yeah, I'm just telling you. But then again, we did paranormal investigation at the Biltmore in LA, you know, with Black Dahlia and the surgeon that cut
Oh
her own
wow,
up.
you're dipping your hands into a lot of things.
Oh yeah. Well, I had done that for 40 years,
Oh
on and
wow.
off. You know, I was gifted with being sensitive, and so I'd been seeing them since 13. And I've got 20 years in cryptids and about 3 in UFOs. So it's just it's crazy. But I get phone calls from all over the world. Don't know how people get my number, not at all. And I'll get phone call, like I had one, I think it was like a month ago, from Brazil. And I've got Ukraine, I've got Russia, Brazil, Australia. I think there were 16 different countries that are calling me, or they're messaging me, or say, hey, are we safe? You know, this dog man followed me and my daughter's home. And I said, well, you'll be okay, you know, as long as you're not out there shooting at it or something like that. And they're both are just curious as we are, you know, which is really cool. But yeah, no, there's some stuff out there that is just crazy.
Yeah, I would love to have a psychic medium come out here and
Yeah.
hopefully get in contact with this new clan, because this new clan's not talking to me like the old one did. The old one's mind spoke to me a few times.
There's
This
a
one's
medium.
not doing it.
Actually, there's 2 mediums that hey, stop. Sorry. I got this one here, my little dog man.
Yeah, I miss having a little dog. I can't have
Yeah.
them. They don't. I don't think they want to hurt it. They want to play with it.
Yeah,
But they do it at nighttime in the middle of the night and
Have them
aggravate the dog
clumsy.
and me and everything else.
Yeah. Oh man, that
But you
is
were
so
saying
cool.
about the medium women.
Oh, I've got 2. One is Katie. What was her name? There's one that is Edmund, that had been on years ago on a bunch of the different paranormal podcasts. Edward, he's the one that was on Oprah, and he would go through the aisles and say, I'm talking, this is referring to you. I can't think of what his name is. And then Patty Negro is another one I've asked. So I ran into her when I ran into Ronnie at that conference and started talking. It was just incredible. So we got 2 of those coming. And I also have a woman that is just big into cryptids right now, but she's on the paranormal team that we started. And like I said, my wife doesn't believe in paranormal. Well, what I didn't say at the Biltmore was, I'm going home. This is your home.
Yeah.
You must stay here. I didn't do that. And so I see all my little old tiny dogs walking down the hallway. And then I saw a shoulder go by into the bathroom. And I'm like, did you see that? She's like, no, what are you talking about? And she gets her shirt tugged and she's like, what are you doing? What do you mean? I'm over here. You're way over there. Something yanked on my shirt. I'm like, oh yeah, now you believe. So it's the hitchhiker effect.
Yeah, before I moved here, the house I lived in before I moved here, we've had stuff like that happening. And the orbs coming out of the bath, they always come out of the bathroom. These black baseball size or softball size orbs, or dark gray, will come out and zoom. And that Baton just walked in. And I was in my bed one night, or one afternoon actually. Or morning, I just ate a bowl of cereal and I set my bowl up on the dresser right there beside my bed. And I texted Peyton and said, hey, come in my room and stop the doorway and listen. And he comes in and he stops at the doorway, and you hear ding, 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 ding. And what is my spoon is going all around in circles in my bowl. It's going all the way around. There's nothing, no TV on, no nothing. And
That
it's just
sounds pretty
vibrating around.
paranormal.
And
Yeah.
then we had a safe, a gun safe, about so big. I had it in this tote. The key was in the lock, and it was just sitting inside this tote in the spare room there. And one day we just hear something, this loud boom, like something crashed real hard on the floor. And I thought Peyton dropped something. And he thought I dropped something because I texted him and said, "Man, what'd you drop?" He was, "I didn't drop it. It was you." I said, "No, it wasn't me."
Yeah.
And for about a day or two, we never thought nothing else. So I just thought Peyton was lying to me and he thought I was lying to him.
Yeah.
And we were in that room. I said, "I need to get this cleaned up." So I just bought a bunch of merchandise. I need that spare space. And I went to move that tote, and the safe was out of the tote, laying on the floor about 3 feet away. And I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at the drill, and I was like, "Hey, wait a minute." I said, "Peyton, listen to this." I grabbed that safe, pick it up about probably 3 or 4 foot off the ground, off the floor, and just drop it. And it made the exact same noise that we both heard. And the
That's
keys were
crazy.
all the way in the corner, where they flew all the way into the corner from where it fell the first time.
Do you
But
think they were trying to get into it, or they were trying to figure out what it was?
I think they were just making noise. Because I had pictures of this big white, looked like a sun, bright orb in my bathroom, and it was just slowly going up the toilet, going up the wall of the shower and everything. And then
What
I got
color was
video.
it?
It was like a fireball. It was yellow, but it looked like the sun,
Okay.
yellow. And but it was nighttime,
Yeah.
and
Well,
it was just moving. And I got a video of me laying on the couch watching TV. The door opened. My bathroom door opened. I'm the only one there. And I'm laying, I started recording. I said, "I kid you not, that bathroom door just opened." And I'm just laying
Yeah.
there recording. And then all of a sudden my door just shuts. And I'm like, "Call me
Yeah.
a liar. Tell me I'm lying." I freaked out, man.
Hey,
And then
man,
I
if
was
it's
on the
on
phone with
video, it happened.
I was on video call with my two daughters, and it was just me at home. And like Bree and Kaylee are both on video, and I'm holding my phone up, just talking to them like this. My back was to the bathroom door, or the hallway goes into the bathroom. And then she said the door opened, and then my daughter Bree said, "I thought you said Peyton wasn't there." I said, "He's not here." She goes, "Well, your bathroom door just opened." And so I looked, and I walked back, and I showed them, said, "Look, there's nobody here." I said, "Maybe the air conditioner kicked on and blew it open or something." But
Yeah.
it can't.
Otherwise, she wouldn't
It
have been in
can't.
your
It's
house
never done it
that morning.
before. Anyway, we're sitting there talking, and the door just boom, shuts. And that we all looking. I was like, "Oh my God, the door just shut
It takes a
again."
lot of energy from them to do that.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a
Peyton
lot of
says
energy they put into it.
the one video I got where it shut, where I was on the couch. Peyton says he sees something sitting on the sink, black, and like pulling the door shut or something. But I
Yeah.
can't see it.
What are you near any Native American mounds or stuff
I
like
don't
that?
know. I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't
Yeah,
think there's
'cause-
any close to my area right here.
yeah.
I do know there are Native Americans in the area, but I don't know about any
Yeah.
mounds.
Yeah, because that happens a lot. And I'm thinking, okay, if it's a shadow person, they can either be earthbound, which whoever knows what they did that they are kept here, and then there's other ones that are out here that are just poltergeists pushing stuff around.
Yeah.
But
Well, this
that
was at
takes
my old
a lot of
house
energy.
an hour away in town.
Yeah.
I sold my old place and we rented this house for a couple of years in town. That place we rented was the ones doing all the crazy stuff.
Maybe it was the woman that passed away in there.
No, this was the rental house that we lived in before we bought this
Oh, the
place.
other one.
Yeah, the one that now I've never really experienced anything. Our security camera did pick up a recording one time. A woman whispering said, "You will see." But this is right when we first found out about the Squatches being here.
Yeah.
And that's when we used to put the camera out on the back deck out of the breezeway here. We'd sit on the deck on the railing, and just one more. It was raining. It was going to rain, so I didn't want to sit it out there. I just left it in here on the stool in the breezeway, and it was on. And then we get a notification of sound, and I listened to it, and I had to listen real good. But I hear a woman whispering, "You will see." And I'm like, "Man, is that Pearly or Polly telling us that we'll see them?" Because
Yeah.
or is that them telling us that we'll see them?
Well,
They're
they
pretty
do
wild.
they do and you might have done this already, that people will see more. They'll see the orbs, they'll see the UFOs, they'll see. All they do is take that once, and I think trust has a lot to do with it. Like you had
Yeah.
said, if they don't trust you, they're not going to, pronounce themselves coming in if they don't know what's going on. So, but yeah, no, it happens.
Now, my
A lot of
13-year-old
people-
grandson's been out here a few times, and he's never seen nothing. But the last time he was here, me and him were out back. We was doing something, and he goes, "Hey, Pop, is that one of them people over there?" I was like, "Where at?" He was right over there, and I couldn't see where he was pointing. I said, "I don't know. Take your phone out and zoom in on, take a picture, and let me see." And he gets his phone out, zooms in on, takes a picture, and shows him. He said, "Yeah, that's one of them. You got to see
Jeez.
one." I said, "That's awesome." I
Yeah.
said, there's not very often people get to see them out here."
Yeah.
And then Rick was here that same weekend, and he got to see him for the first time. He's been out here 3 times, 2 or 3 times prior, and never seen nothing. And then this
Really?
past time he was here, he got pictures of them. Yeah, he got a picture of 2 or 3 of them in it. And we casted some footprints we found. Yeah.
That
And
would be so cool.
yeah, now Greg Yost, they call him the Squatch Man. He's pretty popular. He's a speaker at a lot of conferences and stuff. He came the first time he came out here. He wasn't here 5 minutes. I was just walking and showing the property. We went from the driveway out back to the building, and says I show him I see a lot of the mist. I was like, "Hey, Greg, look at that over there on the other ridge." He looks, goes, "Oh yeah, there they are. I see one. No, I see two. Oh, there's three. Look, he just turned his head." So he got to see 3 of them within the first 5 minutes.
Yeah. And
they
it's
don't
funny.
do that. They don't do that to everybody.
Yeah, we did that too. When I was at the Dan Boone, a minute into the park, we got a dogman 30 feet up in the tree. The first minute we got there, the batteries didn't last after that, but we still got pictures of it and whatnot.
Yeah, that's cool.
Video. It was.
Have you ever seen them in a tree, Brian?
Yeah.
The squatches I have,
Oh, really?
especially little ones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
On
I've
the
seen
average-
like look like little eagle nests.
Yeah.
They put their little bitty ones up there, like 2-year-olds, 1-year-old, 2-year-olds. They put them up there. I've seen bigger ones in trees.
Yeah.
I've got pictures of them in trees. I actually posted on my group, said, "Don't always look down, look up too," because they're in the trees.
I
Yeah,
said
We're
that
hearing
too.
more
Joe.
and more about that. Dogman
Yeah,
and Bigfoot and
I've
Bigfoot
not
and
seen
trees.
I've not seen a dogman up there, but I've seen squatches up there. Mainly the little ones. I think they just keep them off the ground. I've seen them head high. I've seen them way up there.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
There's a woman, her name was Claudia Ackley, and it's not the one that has been in cryptids and stuff before. She was on a walk with her daughters. It wasn't Lake Tahoe, it was not Lake Elsinore. One of the lakes that is around here. She was walking with her daughter back to the house, 2 daughters, back to the house, and she says, "Mom, what's that?" And she says, "What's what?" And she looks, and there's 2 Sasquatch on a huge branch. They took a picture of it. They went home, they called the DNR, they called Wildlife Services. "Ma'am, that's a bear." That's all. "Ma'am, that's a bear." And then the police show up. "Ma'am, that's a bear." And she's like, "That is not a fucking bear." She sued the state of California and won.
I heard about that. Yeah,
Yeah. And she,
for keeping it a secret and trying to.
Yeah,
But
with the payout, yeah, she was secretive about that, which I don't blame her.
no.
That's
That she sued them for like not warning people or something, or wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was. Well,
Wasn't
the
that for the reason
DNR,
they sold or lying about
yeah,
it?
police,
Well,
Wildlife Service.
one winter, I think it was last winter or winter before last, I seen what I thought was a huge brown bear. Now here in Indiana, we don't have bears, especially not huge brown bears anyway. And it was in the snow. It was back here in the clearing in the woods. I took a picture of it and I called a DNR and said, "Hey, if I send you a picture of this, man, it looks like a bear." And I said, I went out the next day and walked around, didn't see any prints. I said, but it clearly looks like a big brown bear. And I sent him the picture, and he actually gave me his cell phone number so I could send him the picture. So I sent it to him. And I said, "Hey," and I said, "Off the record, if I send you a couple other pictures, can you give me your input on it?" I said, "This is totally off the record." He goes, "Sure, absolutely." And I sent him a couple of pictures of Squatch.
Yeah.
And then I didn't hear nothing from him for a
Fair.
week. Not a week. I didn't hear anything. And I messaged him. I said, and I still got the text. I messaged him, said, hey, did you ever find out what that might be? He goes, it ain't a bear. I said,
Yeah.
well, what is it? He goes, I don't know, but it's not a bear. I said, what about the other things? He goes, I don't know. That was it. Never heard nothing else from him. So
Yeah.
he didn't confirm it was a bear, and he said it wasn't a bear.
Yeah.
And now when you look at it, it looks like a dog man, a brown dog man. I didn't
There
know
was,
like I said, I didn't know what dog man was at the time.
yeah, I think you sent
That's
me a
what it
picture
was.
where it was a big old black bear,
No, it was brown.
brown bear. Because I remember seeing
Yeah,
that and looking at the
it's in
head
the
going,
snow beside a fallen log. There's a treetop
okay,
laying
this
there, and
was,
then he's sitting there, but he's down on all fours. I
okay.
thought it was a bear, but apparently it was a dog man.
You have so many great pictures and I can't post most of them.
Yeah.
Let's see
Well,
if I can
just
find one.
go to my group. It's open to the public. Just be kind. Everybody be kind if you're on here watching.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's where many have had to go with that, researchers and stuff because of all the problems they get. And it sucks
Yeah.
because it's just robs you of time that you could be doing something else. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I mean, I just people will tell me on there, hey Brian, or a lot of people on there, they're not admins, but they'll say something to people, hey man, you don't need to say that, that's rude. And a lot
Yeah.
of times they'll tag me. It's just me and Peyton on there, that admin it, but we don't even have
Oh
1,000
shit.
people on there. It's fairly new.
Trying to see if I get that picture.
Have you ever researched your property, Brian? Like went back 100 years, 200 years?
I tried, but I don't know how to do that stuff. I'm
Stay
not
there.
smart like that. I don't know where to go to even research it. I post my address and the area, and I don't see anything. Nothing pops up. I mean,
If
I just
that
don't know how to do it.
existed a long time, there should be some history on it. Uh,
Now there's a road that my road turns into. Like you drive it down, you got to go into the creek and drive through the creek a little bit, and then you go up on the other side, and it turns into roads called Devil's Hollow. So that's kind of
yeah,
weird. It's named Devil's Hollow.
yeah. Uh, I know there's Native Americans that, around that
Oh,
area, around
oh yeah,
National Forest and
yeah.
all throughout Indiana. But if you could find out what tribe was
I
in
know
your area,
the Cherokee.
you
There was
might
some
be able to
free.
do some history search through that
Yeah,
way. Uh, if there's Native Americans, there's probably some kind of burial grounds, or if it was later, a cemetery. And Dogman or Native Americans said they were protectors and guardians of the land and what was sacred. So
yeah.
I
I'll tell you.
interpreted the
There's something you
sacred
said.
part is cemeteries or burial ground.
You mentioned that. I will tell you. Remember me telling you about in the corner of my field? They have this big opening trail goes back there that they made. That I
Yeah.
could drive my truck and camper through and not hit a branch. It only
Uh-huh.
goes in so far, then it stops. But okay, when I first bought this property, I walked it. Right, I walked my whole property inch by inch. And back here in the back, there's these big giant stones, rectangle and round looking stones. And it makes a big, like 12-foot oval. They're above the ground, and right in the middle is a tree.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, that's weird. I said maybe it wasn't a grain bin because they're not in a perfect circle. They're too big, and no man
Maybe
could take
like a
them up.
private family cemetery or something
I
up
don't
there.
know, but I always felt like that means something. It's special. All those big stones and that big. I took pictures of it. It's a big oval circle. And when I was telling Leroy about it, when he first came out and walked my property, we went to it and we got whistled at when we were back here looking for it. They were whistling at us. They'd whistle and I'd whistle back. They'd whistle again. I'd whistle back. But we end up getting to the stones, the circle stones, and then Leroy points out, hey, there's a little structure right here, and there's like a little dome that they built with sticks. And they brought in limbs and stuff that wasn't part of the cedar trees. They were like white oak limbs and stuff, and there's no white oaks there.
Yeah.
And they made this like little domish like teepee for one little person to sit in it. That
Yeah.
was just like 10 feet from the circle stones. I said,
Yeah.
well, our deer stand's right over there, and we never even noticed it.
Yeah.
But I always thought that that circle stones was something important because that where they got that opening at now where you can
Yeah.
walk through it, it goes all the way down to those circle stones and stops. And it stops right there where those are. And it's beat down, wore out. There's no twigs, no limbs, no
Wow.
brush or nothing. It's down to the ground, beat out, and big enough for me to drive my Chevy through it. So it's a wore down path.
Yeah.
And I don't know if
Wow.
it's a ceremonial place or if it's
That's
a
a good point.
gathering
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah.
Could be,
It means
To
something. I mean, it could be
a
those big
nursery.
stones could be seats where everybody can sit down and face each other and
Yeah.
talk. You know, who
Yeah.
knows? Because Peyton would
if
hunt
there's
now that
some
deer
kind
stand
of,
before we knew they were on the property. Peyton would hunt that deer stand back here in that corner, and he would message me and say, "Hey, Dad, there's somebody in the woods talking. There's people out here talking in the woods." I was like, "Well, are you sure?" He goes, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, maybe it's the neighbors across the road that live, down the road a little
Yeah.
bit." So maybe they're talking and just echoing back away. He goes, "No, it's behind me in the woods. I just can't understand what they're saying. It's a male and female." He said a man and a woman, but he said I can't understand what they're saying. I
Oh,
said, "Well,
okay.
maybe,
That makes
maybe."
sense.
Yeah, I
I've
said
heard
maybe they're
that.
trespassing, and he goes, "I just don't know what they're saying, and they're just talking." I said, "Well, just keep your eyes open. If you see them, tell them they're on private property." So,
Yeah.
but he's heard them talk like our very first morning here. Peyton went deer hunting because it was November, it's deer season. He goes down. He goes, "Hey, I'm going hunting in the morning first thing." So he goes down the creek, or he crossed the bridge, goes down that ridge all the way down, and goes down where it looks over the back part of the ridge on another hill. And he said he was sitting there, and he called me and said, "Hey, there's somebody back here hitting the trees with a stick." I was like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "It sounds like somebody's taking a big stick and hitting the tree really hard." I said, "We didn't know anything about wood knocking or anything like
Yeah.
that." And I told him, I said, "Well, man, it's probably just the wind blowing the trees and they're hitting each other and popping." He goes, "No, there's
Good point.
absolutely no wind at all. It's not windy at all." I said, "Well, maybe it's so cold that the trees are popping. And I was just trying to
Oh,
figure
yeah.
out the reason why it would be
Banding
doing
and
that. But
contracting.
he said it kept doing it. He said it sounded like somebody taking a Louisville Slugger wooden bat and smashing it where it's splintering against the tree. He said he got so worried or so scared that he knew something was wrong. So he instead of him walking back down the ridge the way he came, he went down 50-foot bank, slid down that bank, went across the creek, and climbed up the other side on his hands and knees because it was a direct shot to the cabin. So he took the hardest way back to get back, thinking he'd get back quicker because
Yeah.
it really unnerved him that bad. And then I
Yeah.
started hearing the wood knocks, and I'm like, "Oh my god!" But I thought it was just people in the woods hitting the trees with a
Yeah.
bat. Like, my God, they were busting that bat all to pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have two people that have basically verified that it was they weren't smacking trees.
Yep.
They make that sound with their mouth.
Yeah, I figured that out.
'Cause- Yeah, because it's just a little bit off, and you'll start to hear things and you go,
Yep.
that's not an owl, or
Oh yeah.
crying deer or whatnot. It's just like an octave or something off. And I've had two people say that they use the trees for portals and that they don't smack the trees. They
Yeah,
just
it's
use
like that one I was telling you about is meditating and had both his hands on the side of a tree. I
yeah.
think it was using some type of energy out of that tree while I was meditating.
Oh,
Um,
definitely.
and and that one time I was sitting outside on the deck, but this was before I knew they were on the property. I heard that big loud wood knocking sound like a Louisville Slugger smashing against the tree. Then these heavy, heavy footsteps, crunch, 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 going further back in the woods from that first knock. And then after did about 10 steps, it pow, did it again. It sounds like a rifle going off. It hits it so
Yeah.
hard. And I'm like, "Oh my God, who is that back there?" And I just assumed people were sneaking on my property. And
I
I'm like,
would.
"Man, this is getting crazy." So I would always carry a pistol when I go out back here looking.
Yep. Yep.
Then we found out it wasn't people, and that changed everything.
Changes the whole situation out.
Yeah, I mean, it's a blessing, but it's a curse. I
Yeah.
haven't hunted since I've lived here. I haven't hunted at all here myself.
Okay.
Now,
I hear that a lot
Peyton has.
too.
Yeah,
I
Peyton
hear
has.
that
He's
from
shot a
Paul.
couple of deer.
Yeah.
What was it? I seen a dead deer over here on the other side of the creek, out of nowhere, just a deer laying there. It was in the snow. I took a picture of it. Well, I took a picture the second day. First day I didn't. Its head was twisted all the way around. Looked like it had done done a 360 because it was wrinkled around the neck. And it was facing down its spine. I was like, wow, did that thing get hit by a truck or did they do it,
Yeah.
And maybe I thought maybe he
Freaking
had his head out too far in the road and the guy flies down here and that dually smacked it and spun his head all the way around and just
Yeah.
ran over here. Then I thought, well, maybe they did it, and maybe they did it and just left it laying.
Yeah.
And I go out there and I was telling Bernie about it. He goes, oh, tomorrow I'll go out and take a picture. Let me see that. He goes, I told him how the head was twisted around. I go out there the next day and half the deer was gone. From the only part there was the front half, and his two front legs were pulled out of the shoulders and laying beside it, like the sockets pulled completely out of the sockets and just laying there beside it, and its head was straight, but the rest of the back half of the deer was gone. No print, no tracks in the snow, no nothing. And the next day I go out there to get another picture, and the whole deer was gone.
Yeah.
So I didn't see
I've
nothing.
heard they tear up. I mean, as in like your hands just tear the head off of cattle and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And then
Can you
somebody will
imagine
see
the
it. Then,
power it takes to
oh
do
yeah,
that?
Well, the hide, just even on a
Yeah.
deer, trying to rip a
alone.
hide on a deer
Oh
would
yeah,
be
I've been deer
taking
hunting for 40 some years.
Yeah,
You
and
said that you said they had taken branches or trees and put them along the path.
yeah, they like 2-inch trees and saplings and stuff. They'll pull them out of the ground, root ball and all, and lay them end to end on each side of the trail. And that's me where I can stay on that. My trail's 8 foot wide. I made it big enough to where I could drive my truck through there. But they got it
That
lined up on
created
both
a barrier.
sides. Yeah, it's a barrier. I understood what they were doing.
Like for
And
hunting.
no, for me not to get off the trail because
Oh, okay.
they got nests on both sides. I do sometimes get off trail, but I'm doing it for a reason. I'm not just going to poking around looking for them. I'm doing it for, like, there was a deer that jumped the fence and got its leg caught in it. So I got off trail to go over to help it. And by the time I got to it, it got scared and jerked its leg out of the barbed wire, and got out. But then as I was walking back, I seen a big upright X, that, well, I've never seen that before because I never get off trail.
Yeah.
But
Now
there's a big
next
X
month
there.
I've got a guy. When I'm not doing anything. Every split second I'm researching, or I'm watching podcasts or stuff like that. And I've got a guy that's coming in, I think next month, and his name was Brandon Bronzini. And he's actually the first researcher I have found out here in California. So it's like me and him. After that, there's nobody. That's why I've had the group so long, thinking, oh, okay, well, there's somebody that's got to be in Southern California. Nope, just this guy. But his research area is just covered with X's, arches, all that. So he's learned that stuff, and so I'm going to have him come on, and that way he can explain, okay, what do you think the X's are? Because I've seen him walk through a forest and go, hey, did you see that? And, there'll be something there, or some sort of trap or a funnel for deer. And I've heard that Sasquatch do that too. Funnel them into. You guys are hunters. I'm not. They're choke point. They're choke
Yeah.
points. Yeah, and then with the that roar, it paralyzes them, and that's when they walk up and just dispatch it. So yeah,
I see a lot of my huge X's on the ground where they take two trees and cross some X's on the ground, especially out by the arch tree where the portals are. There's 3 huge X's on the ground, big logs. And out by the road, out in front of my property, they brought this log in. I don't know where the log came from, but it's there's a drainage pipe that goes where the creek is. There's a big, huge culvert that goes through the road there, and that's where the water flows through. But they laid this huge log, made a big X right there by that culvert. I don't know where they got the log from. It's probably 22 to 25 inches in diameter and probably about 30, 40 foot long. And they just propped it up on my big oak tree and made a huge X.
Yeah,
and it's still there
not
now.
something somebody does. Let's go out in the woods and take a big old log and
I don't know.
trees.
I've never seen the log, so they brought it from somewhere. And I've been, like I said, I've been all over my property, and I don't know where that log came from because it's cut with a chainsaw at the top, like
it
top.
is.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't know where it came from.
Wow.
You can tell it was laying on the ground for a while. How it kind of rots a little bit.
Yeah.
So they picked it up from somewhere and made an X right there, a huge X right in the front of my property.
Yeah. No,
And
what do you
I've
think that
seen them.
is?
I don't know. I honestly don't know what it means. It could be a marker. It could be letting other ones know, hey, we're here.
Yeah.
Or it could be main. I honestly don't know. I mean, I don't want
Yeah.
to. I don't want to say because I don't know. But I've seen them. I've seen dogmen and squatches across the road at my neighbor's property. I've seen them. I got an elderly neighbor that lives up on the hill, and she's been here since '79. She said she's never heard or seen anything. And but I've seen them on her property. I was up here one day taking her Thanksgiving dinner. It was probably about 10 o'clock at night, and I pulled up in her yard, her driveway, and walked up to her door. As I was walking back, I heard one running from my truck over to her old house, 2-story house that she had. It's in front of her new house, and it's all
Wow.
got growth around it and stuff. I think they're staying in that old house too. But anyway, that's the direction it
I've heard
ran.
that too. I've
And
heard that too.
Yeah.
we drove on home, and Peyton got out and said, "Dad, your taillight's hanging off the truck." I said, "I thought I heard something smack the truck." And I think they pulled my taillight off. I went through like 3 different taillights where they poke holes. They busted holes in them, like golf ball size holes in my taillights. My Jeep,
Jeez.
my blue Chevy, and my black Chevy. I've had to change 3 taillights
Oh
where
God.
they busted the taillight lenses.
You think it might be the light that's going through there that's bugging them, or if it's just
I
like
think they're
juveniles
just
messing
curious.
around?
I think it's little ones just curious, messing around.
Yeah.
I think they were probably throwing rocks at my light and busted it. You
Yeah.
know, I've
Matt
got
Harvey.
pictures of handprints all over my trucks. You know, inside on the
Yeah.
windows, everything.
All those. Matt Harvey is I've been friends with for a while now. He was the one that did the haunted tours out here in Black Star Canyon, which is my research area. And I think he said, what was it? Like he said, there was 8 to 10 different Bigfoot back there that he had seen for over the years from doing his. He ran a paranormal tour group. So Black Star Canyon basically is California Skinwalker Ranch.
Hmm.
We got UFOs. We got a ton of spirits of people that have died. Native Americans massacre back there. You can still hear phantom gunshots. So the place is just really
Well,
crazy.
the gold rush back in the day, there was a lot of murders back then too, a lot of killing.
Yeah.
Wasn't
Well, these were actually people that were what is it called? Wagon trains, and they would
Yeah,
go from one mission to another. Well, if a family member didn't make it halfway through, they would bury him and then put the cross in or whatnot.
right.
So there's a ton of it, and a massacre back there with the Native Americans, and I think they were stealing. I think they were stealing horses, and when they finally got caught, they were eating them.
Oh
So
wow.
I think it was just they went in and said, "Hey, horse thief, boom, boom, boom," and took it from there. So there's a lot, and then people go from one mission to another mission just to kind of get in between, so you have a place to stop,
Yeah,
and yeah, that's out there too. So yeah,
that's pretty wild.
yeah, yeah, it is. It's really wild. All of this stuff is.
I believe there are different species of Bigfoot, like the little ones, and then
Yeah,
there's the big ones. There's different looking ones.
yeah,
I've seen them where they're completely human looking in the face. I've seen them to where they look Neanderthal.
yeah,
I've seen them to where they have more of a monkeyish face. I've seen
yeah.
them with more of a demon face. I've seen a lot
There,
here lately that have gray faces, but their mouths, they come up
yes,
and they jagged up the sides of their mouth. They
exactly.
look like
Okay, good.
zigzag up the
Yeah.
mouth, and it's I don't know. I always thought maybe it was paint, but I really think it's their mouth. That's their lips. I think it
Well,
really
and
is. Goes up that high, and it just does like a jagged V up
yeah, it's
there.
really weird.
Yeah,
But I mean,
There's
it's kind of one of those. It's
like
kind of one
like
of
the
those.
monkey,
There's
like
so many
the
demonic.
baboon looking ones. I've got a picture of the
Oh,
baboon one with his eyes lit up white. I mean, he's got
oh,
the
you kidding
baboon
me?
face. Yeah,
God, man, you're
Mm,
killing me. I'm
yeah,
stuck out here in California.
yeah. I mean,
yeah, there's
California,
different
I need
variances
to
of it.
put more pictures on the group. I haven't been on there doing a whole lot. It just takes forever to go through my phone and find them. But I'll go through here later and maybe tonight or tomorrow and just find more pictures and add there that I took the last couple of years.
yeah.
I just been
Oh,
posting
man.
stuff recently.
Yeah. Well, here, let me set you a couple of questions. Excuse me. I was sick last week. So I'm like dragging my butt. $69 trail cam took my. Oh, he's got a great photo. Except we can't even upload it. But he's got a picture where there's deer, and then there's a trail cam, and he said something about on the right hand side. That's where you could see, the ears of these dogmen. I think he was just kind of content with that. And I said, "Did you see the other ones?"
Is it
Well,
more of a black and white looking, and the deer is right
yes,
in the very middle in the front?
yes,
I
that's
think he
one.
sent me that picture
Posted
too.
that to your group.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He got my advice on it as well. And I said, man, there's more than one in there. There's
yeah.
lined up along that tree line
Definitely.
there.
And what's
Yeah.
crazy is those deer don't care.
Yeah.
They're
It's
just
like
there eating.
well, I mean, if the deer can't sense them, and that means they can pull us real easy. If you ain't looking, you're not going to see them.
Yeah.
Danny.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But
Let's
they
see.
know I can see them, so a lot of times if they don't want me to see them, they'll try to hide in between the V of a tree. I'll just see
Yeah,
their face. I was like, and
man,
I
everything
still
you're
see them. I
saying
was like,
I've
I
heard
see
before.
you. I still see
It's
them.
so cool, though. It's like, oh my gosh,
They've done
verification.
something to
That's
get
what I
past
need.
the deer's eyes, smell, and hearing.
Yeah, and
That's
nothing.
not an
They weren't
easy
even.
game.
Yeah.
We've only smelled them out here one time, and that was the day
Yeah.
we had to get rid of Easton. We heard this
Oh,
loud screech and scream under the cabin. And it
wow.
scared Easton so bad he was under he smelt it before we even knew what was going on. Like we come in the living room and Easton was under the coffee table, he wouldn't move. And he's just standing there, kept smelling the floor, looking up at the patio door and smelling the floor. I was like, come on, Easton, come up here. Wouldn't come to me. Peyton comes in and say, hey man, there's something wrong with Easton. He won't come up here. Peyton's like, come on, Easton, come up here. And Easton wouldn't move. He wouldn't even acknowledge me or Peyton, either one. I said, well,
That's
maybe
Grant.
he's smelling. I said, maybe he's smelling them outside. Go ahead and because I opened the
Oh,
patio
yeah.
door. I said, shut that door. Maybe he's smelling them. So Peyton gets up and goes over. And right when he puts his hand on the door, we hear this loud screeching scream from under the house. And
Wow.
Like 0 feet.
like right under right where Peyton was standing, but underneath. And Peyton shut the door real quick and goes, what the crap was that? I was like, I don't know. And we looked down. Easton had shit himself standing there. He
Yeah.
pooped himself. And so we ended up giving him away that day. I called a friend and said, hey, will you take him? We only had him a week, and I just gave $1,000 for him. And we ended up giving him away, and she still got him today. But and then Peyton, when he come back home, he goes, I smell something really bad outside, like something dead. I said, yeah, I know. I've been smelling for 5 minutes now because I had the windows open and everything, patio door.
Air
And
out the place.
we only smelled it for about 10 minutes. And it smelled like something dead and rotting, but it
Oh,
went
wow.
away. But we think whatever
Yeah.
was under the house did that. We don't know
Yeah.
what it
That's
was.
probably
Under the house. That's interesting, too.
We've never heard that screech or scream before or since.
Huh.
It's like a screeching scream, squill thing. It was real loud. And it was like, I can't even do it. It's like a whistling scream. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, the range higher and below, with the voices, with what's it called? What's that called when they or zapped? I guess that's what people are calling it instead of the
Oh, like the infrasound.
infrasound.
yeah,
Exactly.
infrasound.
And
Yeah,
that is nuts.
Peyton's been zapped. He was up north at a camp out up there. There's a Army Ranger buddy, or he's not a buddy of mine, but he's an Army Ranger. He might as well be a buddy. He's retired. He's had him on his property for years. And Peyton went up there with a group and camped out, and he got zapped up there.
Mm-hmm.
And he's sitting out here.
Yeah, it felt like I was cold. Like my insides were cold, and I was just.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop. Like my teeth wouldn't stop jittering together for like 30
Yeah.
minutes. Because we had a psychic out there with us, and we set out some treats on the guy's gifting stump, and the psychic said that they wanted us to go look at the stump, and then in the process of getting up and going doing that, felt like I was cold the entire time. And the girl that was with me, she's Frank's daughter, who's a medium, I guess, as well. They kept messing with her too, and so me and her were the only ones getting zapped that day.
I personally don't know if I've ever been zapped, but I've had times where it feels like I got the fingers on my top of my head and just squeezing really hard. And when I leave the immediate area, it goes away.
Wow.
And I get a lot of pressure in my head, you know, like me and Peyton will be out back here on the trail. And all of a sudden I'll be like, oh my God, my head. I said the pressure, you know, it just feels like something I feel fingertips. It's just like
Yeah.
squeezing really hard. And
Huh.
I'm like, oh my God, it's hurting so bad, you know, and then we end up walking 10 feet and it goes away. Or sometimes it'll happen in my living room, you know, but it hasn't done it in a long time. It only done
Yeah.
it there for a few months. I don't know if I was being zapped or if they were just messing with me. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, and because I've heard so many people talk about it, and but everybody's back there, and I'm in here in California, so it kind of sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. I was on my deck one evening by myself, just sitting out there. It was dark. Someone come up and boop, smacks my earlobe 2 times. I felt fingers just flip my earlobe. I turn around, there's nothing there. And
Oh yeah, see that
yeah,
would do it. What
and
kind of?
I've heard people say that, you know, they may have the little ones. If the little ones can touch a human without getting caught, they're considered an adult, or they
I have
pass
heard
some kind
that
of
too.
training. I said I give them all kinds of opportunity now. So
Yeah. Oh
you know,
yeah,
I try
that's a
to
good
catch
one.
them if I can, and if I don't, then they touch me. Then they win. You know, but
Yeah.
it's straight up a finger, 2 fingers flipping my earlobe. I felt the warmth of their fingers and everything, and I turned around immediately. They weren't there. There was nothing there.
Yeah. Yeah,
They,
that's crazy. And you
they
know what's
didn't get
funny
caught
though
there.
is all of these things. Well, the majority of what you're saying, I've heard before. So it's kind of
Really?
like reinforcement. You know,
Yeah.
it's really pretty cool, but I can see where it would have its levels, levels of trust, and
Yeah, I
so
mean it's getting a lot better for me, you know, and Peyton too. By us being out here and going outside, being more comfortable at night now. Like
you.
one time, I got zapped, or I don't think I was zapped, but I got the bad dread feeling to where I had to leave around 11 o'clock at night because I thought I was in danger. And what had happened is I had sold some timber here, and this was before when I sold it. I didn't know they were on the property. And then when the guy waited 2 years to come and cut it, and when he came, I forgot about selling. To be honest with you, he called me one day and said, "Hey, I'm going to come and cut those trees down we marked." I was like, "Oh yeah, okay." Because I was like, "Oh crap, I forgot I sold those trees."
Well,
And
yeah,
he comes and I try to buy them back from him, but he wanted double what he gave me. I'm like, "No, I can't do that, man. I just don't have it."
no,
So
yeah,
he cuts them down. He cuts way more. He started doing what do you call that? He was clearing my property. He was clearing everything out. I forget
Clear
what's
cut.
called clear cut.
oh,
I
quick,
called it. I
okay,
come out one day and I looked. I seen the whole bank of that one side of the hill there. And I was like, oh my god. I texted him right, or I tried to call him. He wouldn't answer. And I texted him, say, hey man, what are you doing? I thought you were just taking the trees that had the blue dots.
yeah,
And then he finally messaged me back and says, no, we agreed that I take everything worth value. I was like, no, no.
mm,
And I said, no, that's not what he goes, read the contract. I go in there and I get in the safe, get my contract out. I said, no, it does not say that. So I called DNR out because he had an attitude, you know, when he
yeah,
told me that. And I was like, you know what? I'm calling DNR. I'm not messing with this guy. I
yeah,
called him and I guess they had called him because by the time I got a hold of DNR, he'd already took the skidder to the field and loaded up his log truck and left. And I guess they had called him and me and Peyton had left and came back and we noticed he was back in the field loading up his log truck again. So I drove back here and I said, and he goes, did you call DNR on me? I was like, yeah, because it was not a clear cut deal. And he goes, yeah, I know. Had read the contract. It wasn't. He goes, I'm sorry. And he goes, I'm done. I'm not cutting anymore. I'm like, well, yeah, because I looked out there in my field. It's the first time I've been out there. There were stacks of logs everywhere. He cut down
yeah,
twice as many trees he was supposed to. And he said, well, I cut down a couple that were hollow and I just left them there and cut two more to replace them.
yeah,
Like, wait a minute. You can't do that. You buy a tree, it's up to you. It's your fault if it's hollow. It ain't mine.
exactly, yeah,
But yeah, he cleared out my property. So what happened 3 days later, because during this time, I didn't see one squatch out here the whole time he was out here logging. They left. And 3 days later, after he quit logging, I come home from work one evening and I was sitting out there. It was almost dark. I actually got on recording too. I recorded and I was talking to Peyton on the phone. I said, man, there's one right there just staring at me. He ain't moving. He's just standing there staring at me. And I got the EBGBs from it. I've seen him before, but he just had this look like he was mad.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, I don't feel right. And so I was on the phone with Peyton and Tony for a couple of hours. And I kept saying, man, something's wrong. Something's wrong. I don't like this. And my daughter's like, Dad, just come to our house. I said, well, it's an hour drive. It's late. I'll be okay. And then all of a sudden I hear whoop, 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 3 loud whoops out by the creek. And then I said, oh my God, it just whooped. And as soon as I said that, there were 3 more deeper whoops right behind the other wall around the corner in my backyard, 3 more whoops. And I just got this bad feeling of dread, like, oh my God, they're mad. They're mad about something. And I just felt it. I felt they were angry. And I said, yeah, I'm coming. So I grabbed my keys, what I could grab. And instead of going out the front door, I went all the way around, went out to the garage. I hit that garage door button and my door was just going up so slow. I was like, come on, come on, come on, And it finally got up high enough where I can crawl up under it. And I ran. I hit my first truck mirror. And, it had the big tow mirrors on it. I hit it with my shoulder by accident, folded all the way up against the door, went past that truck, got my other truck, took off out there, man, hit the garage door button, and it wasn't until I got 20 miles away where I started feeling better. And then the next morning, I woke up. I tried to sleep in my daughter's house, but I couldn't. I just, I can't sleep on the couch. So I just went out and sat in the truck all night, and I just dozed off, ball sleeping there. Woke up the next morning, both sides of my hair was gray, white, both sides. And I think they were mad because I'd logged the area. And
Look
that,
at mine here, gray, both sides.
yeah, but yeah, my hair would turn white on both sides
Oh my gosh, man.
overnight. And it's because that they were doing something to me. I don't know. They put the fear in me.
Yeah,
They were just mad because it logged. It was logged.
yeah,
And I told him, I said, hey, I went out and apologized to him. Said, I'm sorry. I didn't know you guys were here when I sold these trees. And I said, I tried to buy them back, but he wanted too much money. I didn't have it. I couldn't buy them back. I talked to him just like I talk to people. And
yeah.
ever since then, everything's been cool, man. It's all been cool since then. That's the only time I've ever felt in danger.
Yeah.
Until last November when we had that camp out and we got growled at.
Yeah.
Well, that guy was just standing there by the camp, but we were pretty close.
Yeah, he was just standing there, but that's the first time we've ever been growled at. It wasn't like threatening growl, just like I think he was mad because I had so many people over for that camp out. That was the most I had over at one time. I mean, there were tents and campers everywhere. There's people everywhere. And they were walking the trail all the way back to the field and walking back. One guy got off trail. He's not allowed back out here. So that's the only rule I have is don't get off trail because I got to respect their wishes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have to live here with them. So
What's funny is they won't classify them as a species, but when Bigfoot is out there, they say it's an endangered species and you can't touch it. $25,000 or life or 10 years in jail, something like that.
California?
No,
Yeah.
this was a couple of states, Pennsylvania.
Oh, really? Yeah, there ain't nothing like that here. You bring it up here, they just laugh at you.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking too. I mean, but they've got these pictures of them, and they're going through, they're looking and pretty close, I'd have to say.
Yeah.
Interesting. So,
I mean, I've noticed that, when I told you about what happened to me in '93 when I was bow hunting, I had that owl that was 10 feet away from me.
oh yeah,
That property now, it used to belong to a farmer, right? All that property now belongs to the state. And I've noticed wherever there's Bigfoot activity, either it's state owned or federal owned property.
Yeah.
They make a forestry or
Or
a
on a
reserve. Like they made it a bird reserve out there. There's nothing that flies through there that needs a bird reserve. You know what I mean? I think they did it because they know the squatches are there. Because me and
Yeah,
Peyton were coming
yeah.
home the back way one time. I sold this big camper and we were driving back. And I seen this huge TP tree structure in the woods. I made Peyton stop and back up. And we backed up. I said, man, I got to get out and check it out. He goes, no, that's crazy. You don't do that. Back then, he was still a little bit scared. He goes, you don't need to be poking around out there. I was like, man, it's only like 30 feet in the woods here. Let me go check it out. And I ended up taking pictures from the road, but it's clearly, they took a bunch of trees, made this big TP structure, No human's going to do that out there. It's swampland, No, the people don't even like hunting it because the mosquitoes are so bad.
Spiders and all this other stuff.
Yeah, and that's the same woods, it's a huge. I mean, it's over a few thousand acres, So that's all connected together where I had that one howl at one time. And yeah, I've just noticed that everywhere there's a state park or national forestry or something, there's activity.
Yeah.
And I think the government made them those woods, or they're buying up the state's buying up property. 'Cause they just bought the state of Indiana bought more property up by the Hoosier National Forest, made it bigger. And I said, well, that's because the Squatch has expanded out from the national forest, so they're buying up the property. They can't make them come back. You know what I mean, to the woods or to the forestry. So they're buying up more property to accommodate, the Squatches. That's my theory. I could be totally wrong. I don't know. It's late. I'm probably wrong. But
It
that's I
happens to
just
me every
noticed
once
that
in a while.
every forestry and state park or whatever I've noticed that the Squatches are there.
Gosh, that's crazy.
That's just here in
Hey.
Indiana. I always thought if I ever want to see a Squatch, I had to go to California or Oregon or somewhere like that, Canada. Never in a million years that I think they'd be in the state of Indiana.
Yeah.
And I even thought that after having those two experiences, prior to living here. I still didn't think Bigfoot was here. And my goodness, that stuff's real. If people have any doubt, I mean,
Yeah.
I understand you got doubt, but man, there's too many people that's seen them that we all ain't lying.
Yeah. Well,
Why would I lie about it? I mean, I ain't
Yeah.
making no money on none of this.
Yeah, no, I mean, it costs us money most of the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Like especially with food I feed them. People say, "Oh, you're feeding the raccoons." Is that I might be. I'm also feeding the other ones too. The raccoons probably getting
Exactly,
some of
whatever's
them.
there.
It's like whoever gets to it first.
Wow. And you got some great stuff. We're gonna have to have you on again, definitely.
Yeah, part 2
Part 2,
to be
definitely.
continued.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to, buddy.
Oh, we'd love to have you. Definitely. I mean, yours is one of the most active places think I've ever seen. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend of mine, Frank, who lives up north. That's had them on his property for like 15 years. He said, Brian, I'm surprised they're still on your property as long as it's been. He said, usually they don't stay, but, less than 2 years, they move on and another group comes in. I said, well, the first group, I think, did leave, or they moved further back. And I will tell you this, one winter, the same year that I told them they're safe here, they can stay here, that winter, and I kid you not, man, there's close to 100 of them out here. And I'm not exaggerating one bit.
Oh, I'm sure, man.
They built these huge nests. There'll be 12 to 15 in this one that I could see. And then over here in this nest, there'll be another 10 to 12. And over in this nest, there'll be 5 or 6. You know what I mean? And I've got over 20 nests on my property. And they're not like little nests, for 1 or 2 people laying.
Yeah.
These are giant treetops. They built up and made these huge nests. Almost one of them's big as my cabin. They're just huge. And I've seen a bunch of them in there. And so that following January after deer season was when they all started leaving. They came in for deer season and then they left when deer season was over. So they knew they were safe there in deer season. Now this past winter, they didn't do that.
Yeah.
It was just that first year.
Yeah.
And I think I ran them off because I was taking way too many pictures, and I believe I ran that first clan off by taking so many pictures.
Jeez. Yeah. I mean, you get so many cool, and forgive me, my nose is clogged up again. But yeah, no, I mean, God, man, you got some of the best evidence and encounters and sightings.
Did I tell you about the Squatches that had technology?
Yeah, I think you remember something about that.
And they had the leather satchels on with the big silver buckles and the little cubes, white cubes with the lens in it. They'd always hold it up in their palm of their hand like that, aim it towards me whenever I'm taking their picture. I've got multiple pictures. No, they never told me what it was. But after I take about 2 or 3 pictures, I'll get one picture of them and maybe 2. Then the third one they'll be holding that cube or a round ball like my security camera, because they'll have a brown ball with the square cube black lens in it. And I think that's why they were messing with mine, because it looked like something they had. And I got pictures. I'll get them to you if I can remember.
Yeah, definitely.
Or you might have to text me to remind me, and I'll send you the pictures of them wearing the satchels. There's 3 of them that had a satchel. three different individuals that had that satchel, and then a bunch of them had the cubes. But that was the first clan. This second clan, I've not seen any of them have anything like that. And that's the one. The first clan is the one that had the little Yodas that had the fanny pack and the robe, wearing the robe.
Oh, yeah.
The one I call Little Yoda.
Huh.
But
And
they
there
were
was
all
one
together.
that you had called. What was it? I think I wrote it down. Probably not. So
There's one I called Spaghetti Arms.
there was
Because he
one
had
that you
long.
had said had a cleft lip.
Oh yeah, yeah. I call him Mr. Edwards.
That's the one.
Yeah,
That's the one.
yeah. He's
It
funny.
was
He was with the first clan. I was out there one day, and these people bought some land beside me, and they brought in these two sheds that are making like tiny little homes, for like a weekend getaway deal. And they were out there working on them. And I was out here on the back deck, and I just looked over, and I seen Mr. Edwards. He was leaning up against a tree, looking at them, watching them. So I went click, took his picture on my cell phone. He knew I took his picture. He looked at me and just started smiling ear to ear, big old grin, smiling because he knew I caught him. I went click, got you again. So that's one of my two favorite pictures is him. But yeah, he has a big cleft lip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so much more.
See, they're a lot. They're more human, yeah, than what people think. I mean, they got a lot of human traits.
A lot.
Yeah, like the tumor hanging off of it. The big.
Yeah.
I got one that's got massive buck teeth. Massive buck teeth. And
I'm
they're
sure
so
it's got
bright
something
white.
to do with-
And
yeah, something to do with it. I mean,
yeah, I've seen that. I've never seen any have canines, big canines. I've never seen a Squatch have any of those. They're all blocky teeth.
yeah.
Like my screensaver now is a big Squatch flexing his muscles, and he's got big blockies on his teeth and all big white blocky teeth. I've
Yeah.
seen some have jagged teeth, real broken and jagged. I felt so sorry for us. Man, he's got to be in pain. They were all broken and stuff.
Yes. You got Dogman and Clan of Bigfoot there. You shouldn't have to worry about no gugweed.
Yeah.
What's that?
They're a type of
Ace-eater.
Bigfoot that's really aggressive.
Oh, really?
Aggressive and mean, yeah.
Mm.
They're
See,
called-
that's what worries me. I hear about there's some rogue ones that are mean that would kill a human. I'm hoping these would protect me out here. Now, I have heard fighting way back in the creek, way back here, like not on my property, further back. I've heard big ones fighting. Like I hear the roars and the howls, and like you could hear like they're fighting each other. I mean, you can't hear them hitting, but you could hear like how they're they're like going at it. And I always thought they were fighting, and I thought, man, is that them fighting a dog man, or they fighting each other? What's going on? But I don't
Or
hear
if
that
you have
often.
an older elder Bigfoot and a younger one steps up and wants to be alpha, they're probably going to have confrontations.
Well, I'll
But like
tell
you
you,
said, they might not even throw a blow, just roaring and yelling.
could be. Yeah, I've never seen them fight. I've always seen them being real loving, caring about
good.
each other, playing with their little ones, and holding their little ones and playing around with them. Like they're always very family oriented, probably more so than a lot of humans. And but there's this one, he was standing, I pulled in my driveway one day, and he was about 4 foot taller than my lean-to building. And the top of my building was 10 foot. So he was about maybe 3 to 4 foot taller than that. I took a picture of it. But he wasn't the clan leader. He wasn't the leader. The clan leader was only about 10 foot tall, but he's real big, real massive. I mean, I don't even see how he could touch his belly because his arms are so big, massive, like the huge, biggest bodybuilder I've ever seen, and his thighs are big as my body. He's big. And but I know he's the clan leader, but the big guy, he's not a clan leader, but he's a tall, slinky one. He's real tall. He knew I was taking this picture. He even smiled. You can see his teeth and everything. But he had his arm stretched across the roof of that. His arm was 8 foot long. And he had this red line. The only reason I knew his arm was 8 foot long because my poles in my barn are 8 foot apart. So I measured from where his shoulder is to where his hand stopped, and he had this red ball light in his hand. And it's right on top of my building.
That's
But
cool.
I'll see if that's in my group picture too, or my Facebook group.
Yeah.
That picture is.
Yeah. So Can we have you on again? You be
Yes,
interested?
sir.
Okay, perfect, man. That'd be great.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, if you give me a couple of days advance or something, you know,
Oh
I
yeah,
can work around it.
definitely.
I
And I
was
won't screw
thinking
you up
5
with somebody
o'clock.
else.
I was thinking 5 o'clock my time. I was like, "There's no way I'll be home by 5." Then I
Yeah.
started thinking, "Wait a minute, he's in California. It's like 8 o'clock my time." So yeah, I
Yeah.
can do that.
That's crazy, man. Well, thank you. Appreciate you
Yeah.
having
Well, I
on.
appreciate
And
you having me on, man.
oh man, I'm sorry that I'm falling asleep.
Been a
Oh,
pure
it's all right.
Being
joy.
up from being up in LA. So,
Yeah.
anyways, thank you very much, Brian, and we'll have you on again because
All right.
you are a wealth of information, and it's interesting for you to say some things that resonates with me. You know, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I've heard of that, and for you, it's like building block. So everybody we have on, I kind of just add to whatever,
Yeah.
the
It kind of confirms what people say, you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's all a
oh
guessing game. It's all theories, you know, unless you got a squatch sitting you down telling you exactly what's going on, you know, and I don't see that
exactly.
happening.
Like
I
the
got
one
here.
that you had at the your fire pit.
Yeah. Well, I wish
People
they
were
would have
sat
talked to
down.
me. I'd feel more comfortable if they did talk to me, but you know,
Yeah.
complete
Oh yeah.
silence and as big as they are, it's intimidating.
Oh
You don't want to sit out there with them. I mean,
I
some people say
totally
they
agree.
would, but I'm like, okay, well, if you've seen as many as I have and how big they are, and some of them look downright evil, you know, in the face. They've never done anything, but they
Yeah.
look like demons in the face, you know. That's why I'm
Yeah.
saying there's different types of them,
Oh
and
yeah.
some of them look scary to look at, you know. Some of them look
Yeah.
like human.
The face
Yeah.
alone on a lot of
Yeah,
these things.
you
So
never know what's going to come around the corner or what come around the tree, you know. So that's why
or in the tree.
I try to
Or
give them
in
the
the tree.
darkness.
Yeah.
The nighttime belongs to them, you know. I don't get out of my yard at nighttime.
Yeah. Oh, we got mountain lions running through. We got coyotes running through. They
I think I'd
overbuilt.
be more scared of mountain lions and bears than
Oh,
I would be of Bigfoot.
look up Whiting Ranch. I'm sorry, my nose is like
Whiting Ranch.
Whiting Ranch. We've had I think 3 people died because of mountain lions, and I mean
Oh,
they're on all our major streets underneath the brush, stuff. And people are going by taking pictures of it. I'm like, God, good luck with that. Hopefully
yeah,
you don't get
yeah.
killed.
I mean, I
Uh,
didn't live this long by being brave.
yeah, yeah,
I lived this long by being smart.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Wish I could say that, but nope.
Yep.
All right, Brian. Thank you very much, man. And
All right,
we've
buddy.
got some other guests coming
You
up.
have a great
And
weekend. And once again,
yes,
thank you for your service,
yes.
Brian.
All right. Thank you, guys. Y'all
Thank
have a
you.
wonderful weekend.
Appreciate it. All
All
righty.
right.
All
Thanks,
right. Bye
bud.
bye.
Bye.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Gosh.
It's
Isn't
amazing.
that? Oh, yeah. It's
It'd be
crazy.
awesome to be out at his place.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That was when, in fact, I ran into him on another
Yeah.
group, and they were just tearing him down. I'm like, fuck them. Just come over to the Cryptid Wrangler, and we'll take
Yeah.
care of you.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, you want to be in a
I,
podcast? And
I
he's like,
seen
no,
that
you
he
should.
joined Bigfoot Believers and other cryptids.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
he'll like
Yep.
that group, and they'll accept him right into the family, like
Yeah.
our group does. And he won't get no ridicule or nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
They'll
That's
love what he
important
shares
to me.
with me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
That's pretty.
awesome guest. Awesome
Yeah.
guest.
Oh yeah, man. I'm blown away. He's
But
just got so much going
you have a
on.
good holiday weekend too, Daniel. And
Thank you too. You too, brother. And I don't know why Lori's not home, but anyways, we're gonna close it down. And
yeah,
thanks again for showing up. And Dave, I can't give you all 5 and 6 of the cryptid. What God, I can't remember. What was
well,
it? What
let me
was it?
know when you're thinking about starting that Thursday group up.
Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, it was just a matter of one of those things where he was there, and I mean, between Brian and the other guy, I
Yeah.
mean, it's just incredible stories, and it's
Oh
happening
yeah.
more and more often too.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right, brother. Let me see if we got any other questions. Good evening. That
All
was
right.
awesome.
Keep
Yes, it
in
was
touch.
awesome.
I'll see you later. Have a
Got
good
it, man. Take
weekend,
care.
brother.
You too. Have a good night. All righty, we're done, guys. And this is the Cryptid Wrangler. I'm Dan, and we just had Larry. So we're coming up next week. We've got awesome guests. Awesome. Just as well, probably better, or actually, I can't even say that. That you might want to watch people that have come in, and we're putting things together and understanding, and that's what we're going to start doing. So thank you guys. Appreciate it. Fridays at night at 5 p.m. And I'm in Pacific Standard. I'm sorry, my nose is all thinking that Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard. And I think everybody else might be 2 or 3 hours after us. So please give us, thumbs up, and thank you much for hosting, David. And we should have you on again too, buddy. All right. Have a good weekend. Have a good holiday. Stay safe. See you guys. Bye. Oh, I'm tired. Fuck me.